Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show. Weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillar. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media. And you don't have to worry about it, because you're going to have me here, right here, just to make that happen. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well, but what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks. Today we are going to be talking about an interesting subject. Something that should be noticed by black men especially. But and it definitely should be noticed by black women. But I mean, trust me, they know. We're going to be talking about, and people, this could be seen as controversial, but I don't really think it is, because, well, I mean, I'm not gonna say it ain't controversial. The thing is the truth, regardless of what people talking about. It's the truth. We're gonna talk about black women's love for feminine men. Okay, we're going to talk about black women's love for feminine men, because it's something that's been going out for years and years and years. Okay, really decades. Truth be told, they have a love for feminine men. Now, some people may say, "Well, is this Roger trying to come at the gays?" No, it's not me coming at the gays. It's not me coming at the LGBT or anything like that. I'm just putting it out there what the real is, and that's all there is to it. Okay, that's all there is to it at the end of the day. I'm just getting people, I'm gonna do my best to get people to pay attention to real world scenarios that are going on. Okay, now I live in America. In America, you got the right to be gay. I don't agree with it, but it's your right. Knock yourself out. I ain't worried about them folk like that. That's between them and God. Okay, that's between them and God. That's on you. At the end of the day, that's on you. It's not gonna be my issue. That's a you issue. Okay, but this is a subject matter that needs to be talked about because it does have effects toward heterosexual men. Okay, there are some effects that go to heterosexual men. But before we dig too deep into this, I want to give credit where credit is due. Okay, I got a lot of great folks who help out a lot. I got folks that give me views, and I appreciate that. All right, I got folks who make comments after the stream. I truly appreciate that because all that stuff helps. Okay, I even got folks who hit that like button. I don't know why it's like pulling teeth sometimes, but I appreciate all y'all that hit that like button and everybody who hypes me up because it all matters at the end of the day. So I appreciate everybody who does that. And there's people who go above and beyond, and I appreciate them dearly. The people who become financial contributors to the channel, and can't thank them enough. And I got to say, shout out to Cyric. Cyric is the sponsor of today's stream, y'all. I've told y'all before, big or small, I do appreciate it all. Shout out to Cyric. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you very much for the support. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. All right, folks. Now, let me give a couple shout outs to some of the first people to check in, because it's always great that when you start a show that you see people checking in. That's always a beautiful thing to see. And y'all know how it goes over here throughout you for live. I mean, you come do it too early, it ain't gonna work out for you. You do it too late, it ain't gonna work out. But you're gonna have to thread that needle so you can become the Highlander of today's stream. So shout out to the righteous teacher. He is the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. Always great to see him. Right behind him, we got my main man, Trev Bentley, in the house, representing hashtag Long Live Habitual Line Steppers, hashtag Negroes in the Wilderness, hashtag Dignity Over Vagina, hashtag Al Gore's Babies, hashtag Hell Hyder. Good to have you, brother. Good to have you. We got Tunnel Runner checking in. Great to see you, my brother. Great to see you. We got we got Floyd Thompson in the house. Yay, yay. Good to have you in the building. My main man, Jay Bones, is in the house. Great to see you, brother. Great to see you. All right, shout out to Gyogami. How you doing, brother? Truth Teller is in the building. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. Nice sometimes is here. Now he's giving out great advice. Hit that like button, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast. Great to see you. We got Music Man 1982 here as well. The one, the only, the classiest man in show business. My main man, Chef Mike's Roundtable, is in the building. Always great to see you. Always great to see you. Boot Camp done pulled up a seat at the cool table. Good to have you, brother. Good to have you. Afro Merchant is here, and look like he done brought Terenzo Jones with him. Great to see y'all. Great to see y'all. Appreciate y'all big time. Appreciate y'all big time. Now, y'all, we gonna get into this because this is a thing. This is a thing. And y'all, if y'all become offended at any time during this broadcast, understand I ain't said none of this stuff to offend anybody. I'm just trying to deal with real situations that need to be addressed, but this is not to offend anybody, okay? Because some folks are more sensitive than others, okay? I'm gonna say my show is for adults, okay? So, and that means you're not supposed to be offended so easy. That's real talk, okay? I understand children don't get stuff, but if you're an adult, you should be able to handle some real world circumstances, okay? So I want to talk a little bit about Black women's love for feminine men. Okay. Now I mentioned the other day, because this is a thing that happened. I was talking about Prince, and y'all know I studied Prince because I did a show on Prince himself. Unfortunately, we don't have that footage anymore because we done lost some channels, but I did study what was happening with Prince. Okay. Turned out Prince was one of the most manliest men out there. Based on what I can tell. Okay. But Prince, he made some decisions, okay? And Prince made a decision to promote himself in a way that he thought would be, I would say, from what I gather from it, safer for his career. Oh, he moved in a way that he can be bigger. He understood that people would see him as a threat. He wanted to win regardless of people seeing him as a threat. But he also wanted to do something that was going to draw the ladies in. Okay. And let's keep it real. The ladies have been drawn in by Prince. Now, am I saying Prince is not a manly man? No, I'm not saying that at all. But Prince purposely presented himself the way he dressed. He was in what they call the androgynous era. That's what I heard coming up. This was the androgynous era where they was trying to blend, men and women to try to make them all look alike, which I don't rock with that type of stuff. I personally wouldn't want to look like no girl. I mean, if it's a joke, I get it. Shout out to David Allen Greer and shout out to Damon Wayans, who like this photo shows, they were doing the men on film. Okay. And it was funny, but the thing is, and I know, I guess if you go far enough back in the day, maybe some people even had a problem with this. But if you're gonna be part of a society, that means everybody, what I'm saying, you get to be made fun of from time to time. If you're gonna be part of a society, which a lot of LGBT people want people to quote unquote recognize them as part of the society. Well, this is what comes with being a part of society. People make fun of you from time to time. Now, of course, they wasn't doing anything harmful. They were just talking about, I mean, this was men on film. So they just presented funny ways to talk about films. Okay. But the thing is, they know this is okay with women. Okay. Because black women love feminine men. Okay. Now, I'm not going to tell you they don't love some men who aren't gay, because they do. They have a track record for loving gay men. And let's keep it real, y'all. All gay men ain't feminine. There are some flamboyant gay men out there that's just how they get down. They want to be that way, and that's who they are. And again, they live in America, so they do have a right to be that way if they want to. But we're not going to pretend that every gay man is feminine. There's very masculine gay men out there. Okay, very masculine gay men. And that's real talk. If they don't tell you they're gay, you're not going to know it. You can't just figure it out like that. You'll have to really be around them to try to catch a sign that they're gay. But there's a lot of straight men, and a lot of straight men will do more and more things to participate in things that were considered feminine. Now, a lot of people can say, well, what are you talking about? I mean, you got a lot of black men who were raised by women. So therefore, anything you do as a black man that women did really and men really didn't do, your mamas would encourage you. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Your mamas would encourage it. All right. A lot of brothers today wear long hair. Okay. And a lot of people don't really even expect nothing about the long hair. Okay. I'm not going to tell you that there was never black men who wore long hair. Black men have all, there's always been somebody you can find that wore long hair. Okay. But now you have brothers who got braids and they have locks, and people wear their hair real long. Okay. Now, I understand there are, places out there, different cultures where that's seen as masculine. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but in America, that was seen as feminine. Long hair was seen as a feminine thing to do. Okay. As time went on, boys were taught doing feminine stuff is okay. They were taught that this is how you fit in. They were taught that to be a proper boy, you have to accept feminine behavior. Now, when you're a little boy, you don't know what's feminine, what's masculine. You just know what you see. And if your mama, who you would expect, You really look at your mama as somebody who loves you. Why would your mama lie? You don't even question it. Okay, mama just tell you, be a girl, and you okay with it because you don't know no better. You just a little kid trying to grow up. You just a little kid trying to grow up. Now, me, I've always said certain things to people, because my thing is, I respect everybody's right to live whatever lifestyle they want to live. That does not mean I agree with your lifestyle. You could be a murderer. I don't agree with nobody being a murderer. Okay. You can have a murderous lifestyle. You could be a hitman. You go out and you kill people for money on a regular basis. Okay. You can do that. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with murder. Okay. If somebody gets killed, it should be for a legitimate reason. Okay. I don't agree with murder. Well, I guess society technically doesn't agree with murder either because it is illegal. But there's all type of things that you can do that I wouldn't necessarily agree with that are perfectly legal. And truth be told, let's not forget slavery at one point was legal. I wouldn't have agreed with it then. Okay, I ain't gonna agree with it now. And well, honestly, slavery still is illegal. You have to be convicted of a crime, though. That's the thing about it. Slavery is still legal in America. They just want you to be convicted of a crime first. So now they can do stuff to you, and then it'll be said because you can legally be a slave as long as you've been convicted of a crime. Now, when it comes down to, women presenting boys in a very feminine way, it happens, and it happens early. A lot of times it happens so early, people don't even take notice to it. And y'all think about it. Why is it that for a lot of black women, they make such an issue? Y'all think about this. Think about this. The first time a son gets his hair cut, do y'all remember somebody having children? That first boy is born, right? The boy is gonna grow some hair. Maybe he grows it quote unquote slow, maybe he grow hair quote unquote fast. But no matter what the situation is, it seems like it's always a battle the first time that boy gets his hair cut. Now, a lot of folks say, hey, you know what, women's just trying to aggravate men. Not gonna say it ain't no truth in that. Okay, I won't say it ain't no truth in that. Women will try to use that to aggravate men. But why is getting a boy haircut such a big deal? That first boy, that first haircut seems to always be a big deal. Well, a mother, she likes her son hair long. And what have I told y'all time and time again? Your subconscious will rule you. Say what you want to say, but your subconscious is gonna rule you. So if she wants a feminine son, then what do you want to do with a feminine son? You want his hair to grow long. You want him to be able to present himself like he's a girl. And that's just what it is at the end of the day. Now, does everybody want to present their son like a girl? No. But everybody who wants their son to seem feminine pretty much wants to present their son like a girl. So that first haircut for that first boy, if the father's involved, because let's keep it real, a lot of women and who are black, especially FBA, they don't even want the dad around by that. By the time he would get his first haircut, they don't want the dad to even have influence over the situation. This stuff is not accidents. Okay, this stuff is not accidents. She wants a feminine looking son. Because in her mind, that's my son. And if I want my son to look like a girl, that's my business. That's the attitude a lot of black women take. If I want my son to look like a girl, that is my business. So what will she do? Well, she's going to do what she can to get her son to look like a girl. Now, there have been some men who've come to, visit with their sons. They done took the son to the barber, got them their first haircut. Some of them even cut the son's hair themselves because they knew what they was doing. They gave their son a nice haircut. And no matter how fresh that haircut is, as soon as it's time to drop that boy back off, it's an issue. Why would you cut his hair? I've even heard women say, you didn't have my permission to cut his hair, as if he got to check in with her. And, we don't necessarily think about, she's trying to make my son a feminine man, but who says she's not? If it walks like a duck and it quack like a duck, the average person gonna think it's a duck. So if mom doesn't want her son to come off as an effeminate man, why is it a battle to do things that would be normal for a masculine man to do? We talking about getting a haircut. How is getting a haircut a big deal? All right. How you gonna be mad at a man for getting his son a haircut? What is the big deal for a man to get his own son a haircut? Now, I'm not gonna even say it'd be crazy if another man got, like if an uncle had the boy and he took his haircut. That shouldn't even be a big deal. On the real, shouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay, but you talking about dad? We're not talking about no uncle. We're not talking about where there can be a misinterpretation of things. There's not a question about why you did this and why you didn't. We're talking about the boy's father. All right, the boy's father. Now, how as a woman you gonna have a problem with the boy's father getting his son a haircut? If you love your son and dad gets his son a haircut, that's just one less thing you got to worry about. So why is it not seen as one less thing the woman would have to worry about? Because there's a reason it's not seen that way. And the truth is, the reason it's not seen that way is because she would prefer her son to be looked upon as a girl. That's all there is to it, y'all. She wants her son to look like a girl. She wants her son to be comfortable looking like a girl. Again, your subconscious will rule you. All right? Your subconscious will rule you. I don't know if y'all noticed it when y'all was little kids. Okay? But I noticed it even when I was a little kid. You know what I know? It would be other kids, and they were boys. And what would the woman do to the boy? And if he ain't got no father to protect him, he was just burned up. And real talk, a lot of guys who may hear this, again, this ain't to offend you. This is just what keeping it real is all about. Think about it. Your mama did it to you too, for a lot of y'all. What did I see as a kid that they was doing to boys? I wasn't even an adult yet, but I noticed this, and I was always like, why would they do that? You got little boys, and they got literally barrettes in their hair. Y'all think about this. Why would a woman have a son, just have his hair keep growing out? A lot of them ain't cut the son hair since birth. Hair long like you'd expect on a woman. And you know what they do? They start putting barrettes in their hair. Now think about this. Why would you put barrettes in your son's hair, but you won't get your son's hair cut? You as a mother is looking at your own son's hair. You're saying, hey, my son's hair is long. His hair is like a girl's hair. So what am I going to do with this? I'm going to start putting things that you associate with women in his hair. Now, shout out to everybody listening from around the world. I understand what I'm saying may not fit you in your country, okay? Because people do different things from a cultural perspective, and I understand that. So if this don't fit you, I get it. But in America, that's one of the easiest ways you can identify little kids on whether they was a boy or a girl. It'll be kids with barrettes in their hair, and those were girls. You know, there would be kids who didn't have barrettes in their hair. Those were usually boys. It was a quick identifier for any adult looking at small children. Now, I'm not talking about the adults that know the children. Now, if you the child's mom, dad, uncle, auntie, you might know. But strangers, we don't know we don't know what it is. So, but you see some barrettes, okay, that's a girl. You see you see a head actually with a haircut, looking good, trimmed down, looking right. Oh, that's a boy. That was an easier way for people to identify it, you know. And I know some slow people might say, well, who need to identify? It's all types of adults that work with children. Okay, all types of adults that work with children. It's the adults in schools that work with children. There's people who take pictures work with children. Okay, there's people involved in the entertainment industry. They entertain children. Plenty of adults want to know the difference between a boy or a girl. It's that simple at the end of the day. What I'm saying is not crazy. No, this is just what it is. There are plenty of adults, for whatever they're doing, they need to know the difference between a boy or a girl. But now that you got black mothers, raising sons without a man in the house, you see more and more boys who look like girls. And truth be told, if we being real, just you walking down the street minding your business, just you walking through a mall, minding your business, just you at the DMV minding your business, there's a lot of boys out there that y'all thought y'all saw. Excuse me, there's a lot of girls out there that y'all thought y'all saw, and them was boys. You wasn't around a kid long enough to figure it out. But a lot of times we was out there, you was in the grocery store, and you looking at this girl acting crazy, and that was a boy. You just didn't know it was a boy. Why? Because mama got the boy looking like a girl. Got barrettes in his hair, all types of female hairstyles. Okay. I mean, even to this day, y'all, and this ain't me trying to offend nobody. I'm just telling you what it was. Braids was associated with women. Okay. Yep. Even in Black America, men were not getting their hair braided. Men were not getting their hair braided. That turned into a thing in the early 90s. When I was a little kid, boys didn't get braids. That was a general rule. I remember when people started wearing braids. Now I am going to say when Allen Iverson hit the NBA, it picked up a lot. Let's just keep it real. And when Allen Iverson got into the NBA, it picked up a whole lot. All right? Because I remember people asking me about getting my hair braided when I was a kid. And I said, no, why would I do that? Girls get their hair braided. And I look at them funny, like, why would you even ask me something like that? Okay, why would I get my hair braided? Girls do that. Okay. Shout out to Afro Merch. Now I do remember some little kids getting caught up in this. They go to a doctor visit or something, and everybody assumes it's a girl, and the little boy got to be like, I'm not a girl. Now, that's funny in a movie. It's funny as a joke, but that just show how far stuff went. There were little boys out there getting mad, pouting, and telling people they're not a girl. And my thing is, as a boy, you should not do all that. Okay? People should be able to pick up on the fact that you're not a girl. There's nothing wrong with somebody identifying you as a boy when you are a boy. But there's a lot of black mothers who clearly had a problem with men being able to see that boys were boys, and other women being able to see that boy was a boy. So the thing is, black women have had a problem with a masculine black man for a long time. Okay. Now, some people, they reach back to slavery and say, you know, the women were being overseers during slavery. And I'm not going to say there's nothing residual there, because black women don't want to turn over the reins to nobody. You put them in charge of something, they don't want to turn the reins over to nobody. Okay. But over time, in slavery, you know, for some hair, it's a long time ago, you know, for some hair. But I understand there's people, and you know what I'm saying, people, you know, your grandparents may not have been slaves, but your grandparents may have been. There's people that's still old enough for that may actually be the case, that your grandparents may have been actual slaves. You know, things like that can occur. You know, I know some people can say, "What?" Well, I mean, if your grandparents were born in the 20s, when were their grandparents born? That's how you got to look at stuff like that. When were their grandparents born? All right. But black women have had this thing. Now I'm gonna say truly to me, because you know it's hard to know what exactly happened in Jim Crow and all that type of stuff. But I know as a boy myself, as I grew up, women started doing all this stuff to make boys look like girls. And even when I was a kid, I would be like, "Why y'all doing that?" You know? Oh, it's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with it. And I'd be like, "No, it is something wrong with it." Like, it's something you shouldn't be doing in the first place. Okay. Okay. Shout out to Trey Bentley. He said my grandfather was born in 18. I was about to say 19 because I'm used to saying 19. He said my grandfather was born in 1896. Now, when y'all hear something like that, like I say, now when y'all think his grandfather was born, you know, if his grandfather was born in 1896, when y'all think his grandfather's grandfather was born, you know, so you know certain things ain't that long ago. You know what I'm saying, from a context perspective. And I remember as a kid, y'all, I would say stuff to women, but you know, I'm a kid, so you know, people ain't paying attention to me like that. But I would say something to women. I'd be like, why are you putting that in his head? Because you know, I'm just being a kid, you know. And as a kid, you just blurt stuff out sometimes. Okay, you know, you got to be taught not to say certain things. You know, you got to be taught to stay out of folks' business and all that type of stuff. So as a kid, I'd be like, why are you putting that in his hair? I thought he a boy. Why he no girl? Why are you putting that in his hair? See, my thing was it was nothing filtered about it. It was just plain old, why are you doing that to a boy? Because we both know, I'm a kid, you an adult. We both should have come to the conclusion, you don't do that to no boy. You do that to a girl. You know? But I mean, a kid asking an adult woman why she putting barrettes in her son's hair, I mean, you're gonna get brushed off at the end of the day. Now I'm smart enough to say something about it, but I get it. She's an adult, she gonna brush off the little kid, asking her why she trying to make her son look like a girl. Because that's all it really was at the end of the day. And I know there's some men at this point that have grown up and you don't wear your hair long basically your whole life, or at least a good chunk or majority of your life. And I'm gonna say again, y'all, when Allen Iverson came into the NBA, that's when the braid thing really started to take off, because he was wearing braids all the time. And Allen Iverson was always seen as a very cool individual. Now, my thing is this. Now, let's say I knew Allen as a kid. I'd be like, bro, why you always got braids in your hair? Why you? I would, you know what I'm saying? Just simply because I've asked close personal friends, like, bro, why do you get braids, man? You ain't no girl. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? Why would you do that? You know? I ain't make no qualms about it. Now, if you get braids, you get braids. That's your business. I ain't tripping about it. You know what I'm saying? Because, see, I still respect men at the end of the day. I do respect men at the end of the day. even if you're doing something I don't agree with, you still got a right to do it. Okay. So I'm gonna respect your position as a man. But now if you was too close to me, I'm gonna ask like, bro, why are you getting braids, man? why go down that path? But I will say this, when you look at men who wear braids, okay, just you think about the men who wear braids. Normally, that started from a boy that didn't grow up with his dad. Okay, because I mean, we're old. No, enough time has went past. You may see a man and his kid got braids, and dad got braids too. Because enough time has went past. But when you see a man who's wearing braids, usually he did come from a single mother home. That's what I'm just gonna say, just on some keeping it real. And you think about the men you happen to come across. The first man you know of who wore braids, I'm talking about as a man. This is his decision at this point. His mama ain't making him do this, his mama ain't making him do that. That man usually came from a single mother home. It just is what it is. Okay. I'm laughing at Afro Merchant. Okay, I'm laughing at Afro. I'm gonna say Afro Merchant. I was a somewhat observant kid about things. That's all I'm gonna say, brother. I was a somewhat observant kid about things. Now, see, D says. Now, shout out to D. He said braids aren't feminine. Now, D, I'm gonna say, according to who? According to who are they not feminine? Because when I grew up as a boy, they were very much considered feminine. I just said something about when Allen Iverson wore into the NBA. That's when it kind of picked up. It was a big deal that he was wearing that in the NBA. They was dealing with rule changes and all that type of stuff because Allen Iverson wore braids to the NBA. It was not a thing that wasn't seen. It wasn't seen as a masculine thing. I'm not saying that's why the NBA was messing with Allen Iverson. I ain't saying that. I think his braids was more of an excuse to mess with him. Okay, it was more of an excuse. Now I'm gonna tell you this, D. Now he says according to black men. D, I'm gonna tell you right now. When I was a kid, according to black men, braids were for girls. Bro, I lived it. Okay. Now I understand there's younger men who grew up with their mamas, and their mamas put braids in their hair since they was little kids. They ain't really never not had braids. But this what you're saying can show how black men have been pushed toward being feminine for a long time. Okay, because what black men don't consider braids feminine? You got to think about that. What black men don't consider braids feminine? See, the younger you go, the more you can get black men to say, "No, braids ain't feminine." But if you go older men understood that braids were feminine. That's why we didn't get them. See, things can be pushed, over time. Okay, and black men have been pushed over time to be, a lot more like a female than a male. For some, it worked better. It worked better than others. Because real talk. In today's world, people think women wearing jeans is feminine. Real talk. You got to think about it. Now, I ain't gonna tell you. I ain't gonna tell you. I don't like. I don't personally like seeing some woman in a nice pair of jeans. No, I like it too because I'm still a man at the end of the day. But when I was a kid, girls were told to dress like girls, which means you mostly saw girls. You know what I'm saying? And practically every woman you saw her wearing a dress. Okay, it was a normal thing for women to wear dresses. Now women wear dresses on special occasions. That's how stuff gets done. Now y'all think about this. Back in the day, women used to wear dresses as a normal thing. In today's time, women wear dresses on special occasions. Okay. Shout out to Floyd Thompson. He said, I love skirts and sundresses. I do too. I do too. But just because I like something, don't mean it don't mean something. Okay. Now, shout out to Afro Merchant. He said, Roger, where them old school brothers wearing perms? Feminine. You know what I'm saying? Where them old school brothers wearing perms? Feminine. Hey, bro, I would never put a perm in my hair. Now, I would tell you that. Okay, I'll tell you that. Now, I understand. Even the great James Brown did that. Okay. But no, I wouldn't do something like that. If it's classified as something women do, when a man does it, I get it when it's a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like the men on film, I get it. It's a joke. I get it. That was supposed to be looked at as, oh, that's funny. But when you do something as a lifestyle, that's a little bit different. And Black women in this particular country, I definitely believe have always leaned toward feminine men because of their connection with white people. Okay. If I'm going to get a man, I need to be able to control that brother. Because if I can't control that brother, Mr. Charlie might be upset with me. And I still got to show Mr. Charlie that, hey, I'm still rocking with you. I know you ain't looking at me right now, but I'm still rocking with you. And anytime you're ready to tell me jump, I'm going to be ready to say how high. But I'm going to say how high in the air. I'm not going to disrespect you, Mr. Charlie. I would dare not say how high while I'm on the ground. I will literally jump up in the air while asking you how high. And when you say how high, I just know I need to keep going up till I get to that height. But I would not ask you on the ground because I'm extremely compliant to you. All right. And I need to get a man so I can direct that man so he can do what you want done. I need to make sure my man is well versed in white supremacy and he knows his place. And his job is to make sure whatever you want done, Mr. Charlie, is going to work out just fine. Okay? Now, y'all, I know time has gone past and certain things, I guess, they come up, they say we have new trends and things like that. I'm going to say shout out to Cat Williams. Sirius Ross says, and shout out to Sirius Ross, he said Cat Williams Cat Williams only look like a perm. It's real. Now, see, think about Cat Williams. Now, when you think about Cat Williams, that's a masculine brother. Okay? That's a masculine brother. But he does wear a perm. Now, is Cat Williams somebody I would see myself as hanging out with or something like that? Well, I mean, of course, the dude is hilarious. You know what I'm saying? He's a great comedian. So why would you say no to hanging out with a great comedian? Now, if Cat Williams asks me, do I like his perm? I'm going to be like, no, bro, I wouldn't want no perm. When I grew up, girls did that. That's no disrespect to him. I'm just telling you what it is. I would never tell a man to do something on a regular basis where it was seen as that's something women do. It's just the way it is. Okay? I don't have to be fake about that. If we friends, we ain't got to agree on every single thing. So Cat, other than that, Cat seemed like a cool regular guy, as far as I can tell. But I wouldn't tell that man that I like his perm. I'm not saying that, bro. I don't like no perm on no dude, especially. Okay. Women get perms, and let's keep it real. As Black men, a lot of us don't even quote unquote like it on Black women. We tell Black women just wear your regular hair. So if I don't like it on a black woman and it's seen as something women did, why would I tell a black man that I like his perm? Like, that's not going to even make sense. Okay, it's not going to even make sense. You know? Shout out to Chef Mike's Roundtable. He said at the Roger Report Live, it's not a perm. No chemicals are involved with Cat. It's his natural hair. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, cool. I mean, nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, the man just got long hair. Totally fine. But when I look at his hair, I do see something that I expect I see a hairstyle that I would expect a woman to have on. So I just don't agree with the man hairstyle. But see, I respect Cat enough to allow Cat to wear the hair he want to wear. Because at the end of the day, the thing is, you still should respect men. I don't like it myself personally, but I respect the brother. It's that simple at the end of the day. You know, I wouldn't diss the man, you know, because I respect the man, you know. But the thing is, black women have always been trying to push black men into being feminine. Okay? They've always done that. When you think about this country and the way black women operate, when have they not tried to push us to being feminine? All right? Do they want you to stand up for yourself? Y'all really think about it. Think about the relationship you had with your own mother. Did your mother ever really want you to stand up for yourself? And if she wanted you to stand up for yourself, who does she want you to stand up to yourself against? Okay. Who did she want you to stand up to yourself against? Was it white men? Was it white women? Or was it only to black folk? Because I understand some people may say, well, my mama told me I need to do this. Was it directed toward? Who was it directed toward? Can you stand up for yourself against anybody and she was okay with it? Or is only in these certain scenarios? And did those scenarios happen to include some black folks? And really, probably just black men. Because there's a lot of mothers who taught their sons, it doesn't make a difference, she's a woman. Whatever she did, it don't make a difference, she's a woman. You should have let that go because it's a woman. You shouldn't have said nothing back to her because it's a woman. A lot of y'all been told that stuff. Because I heard women saying it. So I know a lot of people been told it because I heard women saying it. You know, you shouldn't been acting no fool out here. But mama, she did this. Well, she's a woman. You shouldn't have said nothing to her. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was taught don't really get into it with no adults. That's what you got a mother and a father for. But see, the whole thing was it wasn't specific adults. It wasn't no it's a white adult. But if it's a black adult, you can do something different. It wasn't no if it's a man, you can do this, but if it's a female, you can do that. It was no, Lee, if you having a problem with an adult, you come get us because we're adults and we'll handle it. If you wasn't in immediate danger, you leave that alone. Okay? That's what they taught us. If you're not in some kind of immediate danger, it is not your job to challenge the adults. You come home and you tell your parents. But there's a lot of kids who were told, you don't do that because that's a woman. It's that simple at the end of the day. You don't do that because that's a woman. And when you put messages out there, those messages are going to still be in people's heads even after they grow up. You know? Now, shout out to Cassium. He said, and these men pulled a lot of women. I'm not saying they didn't. I literally said Prince. Why do you think I use Prince as an example? The stream literally is called Black Women's Love for Feminine Men. Being feminine is not going to get you a problem with a black woman. Y'all don't see that? Being feminine, what feminine man ever had a problem with black women? Let's be real about this, y'all. When have you ever seen a feminine man have issues pulling black women? Have you ever seen that? I ain't never seen a feminine brother have issues pulling black women. Not one time. Feminine men have as far as I know, from what I've seen, you know, when they want to deal with black women, their ratio is like 100%. I just ain't never seen a black woman have a problem with a feminine man. Let me say this. I know a couple of black women who I've had some discussion with, and they say they don't rock with that idea. You know, I've met a couple of them that have verbally told me they don't rock with that idea. So if I'm out here saying that black men love feminine brothers, and you say, and those men put a lot of women, what's the disagreement? They love feminine men. So why would a feminine man have a problem pulling women? Now, the thing is, as black men, should we be okay with being feminine women? And if we using this excuse of, well, we can pull women being feminine, does that make it a good idea? You know, I'm not saying you were saying that. I took the name down. What's your name? Whatever the name was, Cassium. I'm not saying you were saying that, but I'm just saying, realistically speaking, I know I can go out in this society and be a very feminine man, and I'm gonna have even more success with women. Is that enough that it should be okay for me to do that? Do you see that as cool? Now that's a question. You know, anybody can answer it. Everybody should think about that question. But I'm asking you, brother, do you think it's cool if I start acting feminine just because I know it's going to bring women? It's going to bring women easier. Okay? I'll be even more successful with women because I'm acting feminine. And let's keep it real, y'all. Can anybody really say that I'm not going to be more successful with women if I'm acting feminine? Now, who is that a compliment to? Is it a compliment to a man to say that because you were acting feminine, you were pulling women? Is that a compliment? You know, again, y'all, Prince, who come off as a manly man, when you start seeing what's going on with Prince, and I do understand this because I had to study Prince for a show. But is it a compliment to say that you can pull women because you acting feminine? Is that an actual compliment? You know, where's the upside of that? That's I'm gonna say that, y'all. Where is the upside of that? Yeah. Shout out to Raven Knight. He said, so we should grow our hair, get nose rings, wear heels to meet women. Well, I'm just saying, because it is something that goes on in Black America where we will justify things, and that justification that we give out is, well, you can pull chicks with it. Now, many men have heard a lot of people justify something because you can pull women. So, you know, what Cassium said, and this is nothing against you, brother, because I don't believe you meant anything malice or anything like that. You were just stating something, you know, obvious. But there's always some brother who will say something like that. But he can pull women, though. He can pull women. That's always been thrown out there, no matter what the situation is. I mean, we've said it even with Prince. Yeah, Prince presented himself in a very effeminate way, but Prince did pull women. Now, I understand from what I looked at with Prince. Prince was doing something for show business, and a celebrity, they do stuff that's not necessarily accepted in regular everyday lifestyle for people who are non-celebrities. So Prince was a celebrity. So it's a little bit different for him. But at the end of the day, if you act more feminine, you can get black women. Okay. Now, D, you say your generation. You say my generation. No, brother. The younger you go, the more you act like a girl, the more girls you get. What do you mean your generation is you saying it stopped happening? Are you trying to convey that men who act like men, are going to be able to outpass guys who present themselves as feminine when it comes to pulling women? Is that what you're saying, D? Just so I get a clear understanding. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm with you and I understand what you're saying. Are you saying that in today's times, okay, the younger you go, okay, the let's say the 18 to 25-year-olds right now, those guys, you saying that they act feminine? Are you saying if they act feminine, they're not going to be more successful with women? Is that what you're saying? No. Now, did you say you accept Prince? No, I didn't accept Prince. I didn't even listen to Prince. I had to study Prince just to do the show that was on Prince. Okay, so no, he wasn't no childhood hero for me or anything like that. I found out because I was studying Prince that he was a masculine dude. I assumed he wasn't. You see how that worked? I assumed because of how he presented himself publicly that he was a feminine man. So I never paid no attention to Prince. But I did know Prince pulled women. Okay. I can't say Prince wasn't pulling on women. Okay. And that's just point blank, period. Man had plenty of women. Just is what it is. And again, I know that because I started studying Prince because I did a show on it. I didn't grow up listening to Prince. It is what it is, and that was nothing musically against him. I just probably wasn't comfortable with the way he was presenting himself. And as I've told y'all before, your subconscious is going to rule you. I don't care what you say. Your subconscious is going to rule you. I never gravitated toward men who presented themselves in a feminine way, which is probably why I never just paid attention to Prince. I was I had a girlfriend one time who said Prince was her favorite musician, and I still never listened to Prince. I had a woman who liked Prince and still didn't listen to Prince at all. Okay, and that's probably just subconsciously that I just didn't see him as somebody I wanted to listen to. Now that I finally listened to his music, I can totally understand why people had called him a musical genius, why he was alive. But I mean, when you think about it, I ain't listened to Prince. He was already dead by the time I listened to the man. Okay, never saw none of his movies growing up. I know he did a few movies. I know the main thing that Purple Rain was big during his time. Never seen Purple Rain. I ain't seen it yet. Maybe I'll watch it one of these days, but I ain't never seen that. Okay. Now, Chasm says you can demonstrate feminine attributes that women gravitate to, but it's more important to be strong and supportive as men. Excuse me. It's more important to be strong and supportive as a man. Now, I totally get that, and I can agree with that. But I'm just saying, black women have always, like, as far as I can tell, feminine men. They've always liked feminine men. Whatever we do as a society that presents as feminine, the more you do it, the more they like you. And that's just the way it is. Now, my thing is, black men, is this something we're going to reject, or do we accept this as a truth? When you do certain things that are seen as feminine, they don't have no problem with it. Okay. Shout out to Revelator, the Spirit of Indifference. He says, "Wow, you haven't seen it, Roger?" I hear you. If you haven't seen it by now, chances are you'll never see it. I don't know how people can't see this stuff. You know, I mean, real talk. We could just talk about pants. Okay, we could talk about pants, y'all. I remember the last time I went out to go buy some jeans, right? I went to go buy some jeans. I couldn't find no jeans that I guess people will refer to as skinny leg or something like that. You know, I remember growing up in the world where men were not wearing tight jeans. Okay. We were not trying to show off our legs by wearing jeans. We were not trying to impress women with super tight pants on. That's not what we did when I was a kid. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. And I understand there may be a few younger men listening to this, and you kind of grew up in this world, so you may not get what I'm saying. Okay? But when I was a boy, you didn't wear tight jeans so you can show your body off to women. That's not how you showed your body off. Okay. Men wasn't technically trying to show their body off like that, but you know, you show your body off when you're wearing your shorts. You show your body off when you go to the weight room. You show your body off when you're on the football field, you know, basketball, you know, track, you know, shot put, whatever sport you're doing. You know, we showed off to women too. I'm not gonna act like brothers wasn't trying to show themselves off to women in certain aspects. But what we did not do as a collective was go get a tight pair of jeans and put them on so we can show our bodies off to women. That's not what we did. Okay. Okay. Matter of fact, when them jeans started to get popular, we was making fun of them. We was calling them stuff like nut huggers and whatnot. We was making fun of it. Okay. Shout out to Chef Mike's Roundtable. He said, the 70s, Roger, look at an Isley Brothers album cover. Now, I've seen some Isley Brothers album covers. And I think that is more proof that if you look feminine, Black women have always shown an attraction to that. They've always shown an attraction to anybody who present themselves as any Black man. If you present yourself as feminine, they like you. I almost said any straight Black man, but I can't even say straight Black man. You know, as much as I found out about Black women having sex with men who classify themselves as gay, I can't even just reduce that to straight Black men. Okay. Black women seem to like any brother who presents himself as feminine. Now, I do understand over time and perceptions, because when people are born, when people die, different things will probably be looked at as what is feminine versus what is masculine. You know, back in the day, y'all, you couldn't get a brother to wear pink because it was seen as that's something girls do. Now, today, I think more brothers will wear pink because they you know what I'm saying, they don't see it that way. Okay. But when I was a kid, brothers didn't wear pink. If you wore a shirt that simply had pink in it, if you came to school and somebody noticed some pink in your shirt, you getting roasted. That's just the way it was back then. You would literally get roasted because it was pink in your shirt. Okay. Heck, the whole thing about breast cancer, you know, I was that October, I think it is, where they do the you know, they do the month trying to raise money and you know, get people to pay attention to breast cancer. How is that represented? You wear pink, okay, for breast cancer because you associate breast with women and you associate pink with women. So people wear pink for the association with women. Pink been associated with girls for a long time. Now, I don't know how long pink has been associated with girls. That's how it was when I grew up. Now, maybe in the 1700s, pink meant boys. You see, over time, things can change. Pink could have been for a boy in the 1700s. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know if it was anything like that. The thing is, whatever puts you closer to being feminine and you are a black man, they like you in it. It's that simple. They like you in it. Okay? Shout out to Hood Server. He said it actually was. Now, are you saying it was pink used to be associated with men back in the 1700s? Are you saying that it actually was? You know, or you I'm assuming based on when you put that in there, maybe you're talking about that because I don't actually know. Okay, what I'm saying is whatever is associated with women, if black men do it, black women generally love it. Whatever you can do that associates with women, black women like you doing it. You know? And people will look at gay men and say, okay, those are some effeminate men. Not that all gay men are effeminate, but black women don't seem to have a problem with no brother, regardless of how effeminate he is. There's gay men on the internet right now who have channels that are very much supported by black women. Hey, it's if we want to be real about it, black women are listening to gay men tell them how to get a straight man. Shout out to the Hood Server. He said, yes, pink was once considered a masculine color. And you see, that's why I say, y'all, things can change over time. That would be a level of proof that things can change over time. Because it's all about when you're born and what you see when you're growing up and things like that. So anything the women see as feminine, as a black man, if you do it, they like you. And what I'm saying is men should really understand this as a concept because it does have something to do with how we deal with women. Women who call themselves straight, okay, black men who call themselves straight. This will help you understand why women are making some of the moves that they're making. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go be feminine so you can pull more women. But when it comes to that, just like it was said earlier today, you got to think about that. Is that a compliment? As long as I present myself as female, I can go pull women. Is that an actual compliment? Is it a compliment from the woman's perspective? I like you because you seem feminine. Now, I ain't gonna tell you can't get the woman. And if your only goal is getting sex out the woman, I mean, real talk is gonna help you get to that goal a lot quicker. But what goes on in a woman's head who comes to this determination, I like this guy because he is more feminine. Is that even complimentary to you from her perspective? Because as I think about it, I don't see it as a compliment. A woman liking a man because he's feminine, I don't see where he's complimented in that. And yeah, he may even get some out of her, but you can get some without being insulted. That's still legal. You can get some without being insulted. Why I got to take an insult to get some? That don't make sense to me. But at the end of the day, we justify this stuff saying, well, he still was pulling some women. Cool. You pull some women. Great. That ain't cool with me, though. I don't want to be insulted like you see me as a girl for me to be able to pull a woman. I would prefer to pull a woman without being seen as a girl. I would prefer to pull a woman without being seen as feminine. And I don't see I don't see how that's a problem. Okay. I don't totally get people gonna say, well, he pulled them women though. Yeah, but he was in a dress. I'm never gonna tell you as a black man, if you get out here and start wearing dresses right now, I guarantee you will start pulling more women. I guarantee that. I bet I guarantee you just start wearing dresses. You gonna get all kinds of black women that you can pull. You know, you will be able to have sex with a good amount of them, and that's just how it goes. So anybody who believes that they ain't having the luck they want, I'm telling you how to get. You can get luckier right now. All you gotta do is go to a store, go get some dresses, and start wearing dresses. And I guarantee your number with your number with black women gonna automatically start going up. But is that the way you want it to be though? Do as a man, do you want to accept that acting like a girl is my key to women? Now shout out to Floyd Thompson. He says, Roger, I rock my pink Lacoste shirt when I was a kid under my Seattle Seahawks stater with matching bubble coat and my Hugger Brown corduroys and my brown buckskin shoes. You know what, Floyd? I'm sure. I'm sure you was fly. But I wouldn't have did it. That's all I'm gonna say. I wouldn't have did it. Oh, Floyd say, welcome to Atlanta. That's a mean combo, but I wouldn't have did it. Okay, that's a mean combo, but I wouldn't have did it, y'all. I didn't wear pink nothing. I'm just gonna keep it real, y'all. I can't remember anything I ever had in my wardrobe as a child that had pink in it. Okay, if I had to wear pink, maybe this was like some wedding colors or something, because I don't even remember that. I didn't have no pink at all. Okay, my parents told us pick what you like. Okay, because you're gonna be stuck with it. I ain't have no pink. That's real talk, y'all. I didn't have no pink. All right. Now, was I gonna beat up a kid because he was wearing pink? No, but I didn't have none because I didn't have to. It was that simple to me. Pink was for girls, blue was for boys. I was hearing that since I was a child. So that's the picture that got in my head. You know, as I say, y'all, your subconscious rules you. I'm included. So since my subconscious ruled me, anytime we go to some back to school shopping, okay, it's your birthday, we're gonna get you an outfit or something like that. I ain't never picked anything that had pink in it. Y'all, I've seen some fly stuff, as they say, some cold stuff. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff I really wanted, and then I found pink in it and couldn't get it. Not because somebody told me I couldn't have it. I couldn't get it because I couldn't live with me picking that out. And that's what it was. I personally couldn't live with myself picking that out. But I ain't never seen an effeminate brother have a problem with black women. Now, I get it, y'all. There's some jokes in here that you can crack. There's some things that you can say about this subject matter. But I want men to really start thinking about the mentality of black women. And what does it mean that you have to wear some? What you got to wear something that's feminine. Okay, shout out to Raven Knight. He said, never pink? Question mark, question mark. Come on, Roger. Even the Bears wear pink. Bulls, Cubs. I didn't have none of that stuff. Now, Raven Knight is telling the truth, y'all. If you don't know, the Bears organization have made some pink stuff. The Bulls organization has made some pink stuff. The Cubs organization has made some pink stuff. I didn't have none of it. Well, I still don't have none of it. Okay? There ain't nothing stopping me from going to buy it. All right? I remember people would sell stuff, you know, like I done bought some Girl Scout cookies. I done bought, or I done donated some money for breast cancer and stuff like that. And they'll give you like a little pink, it's like a little pink wristband or something like that. I just get that stuff to a girl. Okay, that's just what it is for me. I'm just being real with y'all. I paid a little thing. or I donate the little money here. Everybody's wearing this pink wrist for breast cancer. And my thing is, look, I totally understand why men is putting on the little pink wrist, or they putting some pink on to show that they down with, they support women getting help with breast cancer. And I totally get that. I think that's a good cause. Anytime you're trying to do something to help people get healthy, that's a good cause. I'm not going to, talk down on nobody raising money to help people live a healthier lifestyle. But I ain't putting none of that stuff on. I ain't gave money to it. They give me the little pink wristband. This is just the example I'm using right now. And I don't put it on. I just give it to a girl. Here, you want this? And that's it. I didn't never give it to a boy, because as a man, I wasn't going to put it on. Why would I ask a boy to put it on? Like, no. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not doing that. Because there's something that happens in America, y'all, that I think a lot of us, we take for granted and we don't use it the way we should. Thinking is still legal. You can still think. It's legal here, y'all. Shout out to Capri 10. He say agenda. Yeah, you know what? Folks have agendas. Everybody has an agenda. But just because it's for breast cancer does not mean I have to dress like a girl. Okay? So giving me a pink wristband is cool. Okay, maybe people think I didn't give no money for breast cancer and they're going to look at me crazy. Then I just get looked at crazy. It's at the end of the day, no, I'm not doing that. Okay? I'm not doing that. Okay? Shout out to Floyd Thompson. He said, "Come on, Roger. You can't tell me you never eaten the pink strawberry penny cookies." Nah, man, hey, them cookies was my main man Floyd, them cookies was good. I know exactly what you're talking about, brother. Them was delicious, bro. You just made me want some of those right now. They was delicious, but they was cookies, man. They was cookies. I didn't have to wear those cookies to eat them. I just had to get some and eat. So Floyd, you got me on that one. Them little pink cookies, man. Yeah, bro. Them boys, I don't know what it was about them. Them boys they just hitting the way that's different than other cookies, man. I would go get some right now, but I don't know where to go get some from. Real talk. I would literally go get some of them right now, but I don't even know where they sell them cookies. Truth be told, shout out to Raven Knight. I'm with you, brother. They do hit different. Them cookies hit different. I don't know. I don't know if they put cocaine and sugar in them cookies, but them cookies hit different. Real talk. At least for me, y'all. But no, I don't do stuff that associates. Hold on, let me see what Chef Mike Roundtable is going. He said, "At Floyd Thompson, the Roger Report Live don't even eat cat because it's pink." Now I ain't said nothing like that. Now, y'all, I don't wear pink. Is what I said, y'all. I don't wear pink. That's what I said. I don't wear pink. Shout out to Gary Miller. He said Cameron Pink. Laugh out loud. Y'all know something? I ain't never bought a Cameron album. I heard about that pink. I don't know what Cameron was doing. I don't know what Cameron was trying to prove. Cause I heard about the pink and the I think he had the pink mink coat and all that type of. I don't know what Cameron was on. But I just never brought a Cameron album. And I'm not saying Cameron can't rap. I'm not saying that at all. He obviously could rap. You know what I'm saying? The man obviously made some good music. But I would never buy Cameron's albums. And it's not that I made like a conscious choice to never buy Cameron's album. I think possibly because of that whole pink promotion that he did at a certain point, subconsciously, I probably never picked them. Remember, y'all, your subconscious does rule you. I'm not saying I'm different. And the thing is, y'all, I've been buying albums since I was 16. First job. Okay. First fast food joint that I got a job at. Every time I got paid, I went and got an album. I never bought a Cameron album. You know, I done had best friends who had Cameron album. Never rock with the dude like that. And maybe that Pink thing really stopped me from considering him in general. Because I just don't want to be a girl. It is what it is with me. You know, but I do think that this is something that we actually should think about. Why is it that black women love a black man who will present himself in a feminine way? Why is that such a big deal? You know, and now that you even mentioned Cameron, you notice that didn't hurt his career at all. Okay, Cameron doing whatever he was doing with the Pink, and like I wasn't really paying attention to his promotion with the Pink stuff, y'all, because I just didn't rock with Pink like that. So I just think for me, it's just a mental block there, and I just didn't rock with it. That's what I'm, being realistic as a person who was always getting music. I just think I put a mental block there because I heard about his Pink campaign, and I just couldn't go that way. Okay. Shout out to Kevin 3905. He said, I hear Roger left a gender reveal party because Pink came out the balloons. Kevin, that's funny, Joe. That is funny. Okay. That is funny, y'all. Look, I don't have no problem with Pink. See, that's what y'all bypassing. Deliberately too. Y'all deliberately bypassing that. I have no problem with Pink. Okay. What I have a problem with is Pink being associated with me as a man. That's what I got a problem with. Okay. I don't want y'all. I mean, real talk. Once I die, I really don't care what goes on as far as worldly concerns, because I'm gonna be dead at that point. So I really don't care. But I prefer not to be buried in a pink casket. Okay, don't put me in no pink suit. Not that I'm gonna die anytime soon, but don't go get no pink suit to put me in. Don't get no pink casket, even if it's the cheapest casket. Just go one more up. You ain't got to bury me in nothing expensive. I don't care. I'm dead already. Don't put my body in no pink casket though. Okay. Y'all gonna mess around and have me start including certain things when my time do come. Okay. No, I'm gonna have to instruct. I ain't got kids. So I don't know who's gonna be doing it. Maybe my nephew's probably gonna be handling this stuff. But now y'all gonna have me put instructions. Don't put me in nothing pink, okay? No. Hey man, it's gonna be my money. I'm paying for it. Don't put me in nothing pink. Don't you dare use my money to buy me no pink casket. I ain't rocking with that, y'all. But there's definitely something that goes on where they keep trying to push the men into something that's seen as feminine. Okay, I think the color pink is just an easy thing to pull out. It's an easy thing to pull out right now. But as men, have y'all ever seen black women have problem with men doing things that are perceived as feminine, whatever the thing happens to be? Okay, whatever the time frame happens to be. I know for some younger men, long hair, they're not going to associate that with associate that with being feminine, because that's not the world they grew up in. They grew up in a world where, and I'm saying from an American society standpoint, because every society is a little bit different. But now in America, it's guys will have long hair. Women expect you to have long hair at this particular point. When you start looking at the younger folk. they expect you to have long hair. So it's not necessarily associated with younger folks as being feminine. But if you're older, you know when we was kids, guys was not going around in no long hair all the time. You could see a guy in long hair, but you wouldn't see guys in general with long hair like how it's getting now. But Inspired Truth Broadcast is here, so let me let him get the mic. You got it, my brother. How you doing?
All right. Doing good. How am I coming in? Loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So the way that I kind of recall this, the way I remember this kind of going down was like it was a tactic, a strategy to try to get women to kind of lower their guard, get their guard down. Like at least that's what I like remember from like years ago when I like hear about guys that were like kind of on that taking that approach, like doing the more or less kind of feminine adjacent thing, or I mean I can't really call it like androgyny thing, but like kind of uh like that little bit of looking like that certain way or whatnot. It was like just to kind of like ease or give them or make them more comfortable or what, or something like that. And I guess that I guess I can see like where that's been like a reoccurring theme when I look back at some, some other things like across time and like even in I remember like hearing something about like bonobos or something like, primates, having that same strategy. Like if they couldn't be like the alpha primary thing, then they would kind of like go and then do the kind of like fit in with the women type of thing to try to like get them, their guard down and keep, that whole thing of survival going, with, in terms of genetics or whatnot. So, I mean, I guess it's just kind of like a different tactical strategy that some people are able to pull off. And the way that it works in our particular society, I mean, in our particular subgroup in America is kind of has some racial overtones with the hierarchy as well. So it's like a confluence of issues all coming at the same time. Like in this whole like pink thing, like man, oh man, like it's amazing to see how time changes stuff. Like that whole pink thing, really was one of those, things that like, back in the 80s or whatnot would be like a no-go. And then like later on in time you deal with it and it's like, oh, you need like a pink power tie to really show that you're like really masculine. And things do change like that. And then we have like the whole confluence with charities, like, back where I'm at, we have the Red Dress Run, and that's like a real serious charity, about like a whole bunch of different uh actual charities all lumped into one, including trying to get people off the street or trying to fight homelessness. And so you have dudes in red dresses on the run. So it's like I haven't even posted that on my thing. I just kept that on like TikTok. So, but it's interesting to see how things pan out. It's a lot going on with social dynamics.
Absolutely. And see, my thing is, why did that ever even turn into a thing? Because at the end of the day, man, I mean, what did you have to prove? I remember certain women talking to certain guys about their how they gonna dress and the person wearing pink. I remember these as conversations that they were having. Okay, there was issues going on. Okay, there was definitely issues going on. And I remember women telling guys, hey, don't worry about it. It don't mean nothing and all that type of stuff. I remember one specific conversation where it was a girl right there with her boyfriend. And he was like, well, should I wear the pink on such and such this and such that? And I was like, bro, I mean, you can wear the pink. I get you, bro. You want to make your woman happy? I understand. You're going to wear the pink. But I had all types of jokes for him. Okay. I had all types of jokes for him. If you would agree to wear this pink. Okay. I had all types of jokes for him. And I wasn't gonna let him let it go. You know what I'm saying? For a long time. Because once you show up in the pink, bro, I got to talk about you. Because y'all know how black people are. We play the dozens and stuff like that. I got to get you if you're gonna put it on. It come with the territory, it come with the territory. So don't take it personal, you know what I'm saying? But I got to get you. If we go to this event, you come in with some pink on, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to roast you for years at that particular point. Because my thing is, I ain't got to be feminine to be cool with no chick. I don't believe in that. Okay. If it's that serious to you, man, you got to do that with somebody else because I ain't doing it with you. It's that simple to me. I ain't doing it with you. Okay. Now we got another guest coming up, TGP. What's good, my brother? How you doing? Welcome to the show. TGP, you have the floor. TGP.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, now we hear you.
Okay, good morning. Good morning. I had on mute. I'm sorry about that. I had this is a good topic, and my mind had different thoughts in my head. So like, you can stop me if I'm going off subject because I don't want to take the show off topic. But like I was thinking about like the ABC community and the fact that a lot of the men over there are have feminine ways, and they have a lot of friends for women, and it seems like that's widely accepted to the point that if a man walks down the street with he has a relationship, he's with a non-interracial relationship, he's walking down the street with his non-interracial relationship girlfriend, and a black woman's on the other side of the street, he might get dirty looks and snarls. But if two ABCs are walking together down the street and a black woman's coming his way, she's getting a smile or a head nod or a hey girl. And I couldn't understand that because if a man is in a relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean he's not interested in black women. It just means that he's currently not dating one at this time, but he still is very interested in women. So let's say that woman could potentially date that man down the road, or another black man could potentially date him down the road if he moves on for a relationship. But two men that are ABCs, there is no chance a black woman is ever going to be with them. Well, we'll probably sleep around and stuff, but as far as leading on to marriage, it's probably not going to happen. So the point I'm trying to get is it's I don't understand the reasoning of getting mad at someone who's in a racial relationship. Sorry about that, because he still likes women, but two ABCs, they don't like women in that way. So you can never be with them. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, but
are you saying black women should be mad at the guys for being LGBT instead of mad at the guys who they potentially could possibly get at some point because he's straight?
You follow me, Roger, but let me put it into another perspective. When I see two women together, they find like, dang man, I could have had one of them, but that's cool, let them do their thing. But if I see a sister with a interracial relationship, I'm like, man, where you find that? Okay, good for him. I wish I could find something like that, natural hair, slim. But anyway, I don't snarl at the fact that she's with an interracial man. I look at it like in a sense of like, I'm glad she's like, man, there's hope there. But if I see two women together, okay, I can't even necessarily shoot my shot. And I've shot my shot sometimes, and I was intercepted by the stud.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't have shot at her woman. She's supposed to. No, I mean, I get that. I didn't holler at some women. They done turned out to be LGBT or whatever. And then it's like, okay, all right, cool. I mean, ain't no love lost. It ain't no big deal. It's just you don't rock our way, which is, that's your business at the end of the day. But my thing is, I don't want to compare those two type of relationships, but you're really looking at black women's anger when you start looking at the fact that they'll see some black men who happen to be LGBT but not be mad at them, but they mad at the straight black. That's just got something to do with black women's anger. And their anger issues at the end of the day. Which is, black women have a right to be angry. But my thing is, the reason I'm doing this particular episode is because straight black women, these are the women we're supposed to be dealing with, straight black women, have always had an issue where they was cool with black men being seen as feminine. They have always tried to help us be feminine, because now that you have so many fathers removed from the picture and we see what they do to their boys, they're clearly trying to present that, well, at least to us, whether we accept it or not, we prefer y'all being feminine. Black women are making that a clear message at this particular point. Because you know what I don't see? I don't see women generally disagreeing with women who raise a boy and he looks like a girl. Other women don't seem to have a problem with that. All right, now Compassion Kazan joined us, y'all. He on the ones and twos in the back, so he obviously has a video here that he wants us to see. So let's matter of fact, everybody mute up when you're not speaking, because I do hear a little bit of an echo. I guess TGP, I guess that was you. What I would suggest, possibly, if just turn your stuff down a little bit, that might help. Not necessarily, but it might help. That's what it has helped me in the past. So let's see this real
It's
quick.
best to probably leave and come back. Salute to the panel, and long live the habitual line steppers.
All right, shout out to you, Alonzo. Glad to have you here. Of course, glad to have you here. And I'm gonna get you and this other brother in a moment. I just want to go ahead and take a quick look at what Compassion Kaz done dug up something for us. So let's see what he got. But notice it says feminized by design. Let's see what he got. Go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
Some of these kids are effeminate, especially you boys. Some of y'all really don't find this out until y'all grown. Some of y'all were raised to be effeminate. That's why, out of spite to your dad. Because I've been like this my whole life. Yeah, I bet you have. Because from the moment you can remember, you was wearing heels and dresses, but it doesn't dawn on you the whole time your mama was putting you in heels and dresses and cool with you wearing heels and dresses and purses. That's what's going on.
I'm gonna say shout out to LAR, because I recognize his voice. Shout out to LAR Movement, y'all. A great man to check out if you ain't checked out his channel. You know what? That makes all the sense in the world. Oh, wait a minute, you got another one for us. But what LAR said makes all the sense in the world. Let's see this one too. Go ahead, my brother.
A lot of black men, at least, especially collectively, black men act like how women act. And black women act like how men are supposed to act. Black women are very possessive. They're very ego-driven. They have a sense of ownership. That's how men are supposed to have with women. Men put up with a lot. Men are always trying to keep the collective relationship between black men and black women going. And a lot of dudes don't think about that because black men are operating in a state of autopilot. Black men do not operate. Black men may lead their own lives when it comes to what they need to do. They may lead their kids. But ultimately, when it comes to collective leadership, black men have a very matriarchal, submissive disposition to black women as a collective group.
Now, shout out to my main man, Edward Anderson, which I can agree with that. A lot of us have been taught that we are not in the right position when we are the leaders. And I don't know how you fix a community when you have men that won't accept that they're the leaders of the community. That's not a good look at the end of the day. And that's real talk. But since these other gentlemen came up, I got to let them get an opening statement in. So we're going to get to that right now. We have Kevin 3905. You got the mic first. We get Alonzo in right after, then Shark Sims right after that. Go ahead, my brother.
Man, good morning, brothers. Good morning. Man, I love how you peel back the layers of the gynocracy every day, man. It's wonderful that you're doing this. But these women, most of the time, They're single women that are doing this stuff. They're they're just in rebellion, man. They're in rebellion to the natural order of things. And when they bear children, especially if they're boys, they usually hate the fathers because they can't control the fathers. The fathers won't do what they want them to do. They won't they won't bend the knee to them. So they destroy your sons and your daughters and use them as weapons against you. So this is why our children are turning out the way that they're turning out. And another thing, you and I, Roger, are of similar ages. Back in the day, these girls used to hang out with these very effeminate boys, these very flamboyant uh, gay men. And I remember as a teenager, I used to ask the girls, like, y'all don't find that offensive that this guy is trying to emulate you? And they used to be like, nah, we think it's cute. Now, the women, the black women in particular, are following the effeminate men. They dressing like them, they looking like them. Like when they go and get all these surgeries and stuff done, you can't hardly tell the difference between these altered women than you can these drag queens, bro. It's just it. I think they've cursed themselves with their rebellious spirit, bro. And this rebellious spirit is just they're already destroying themselves when they're out there on their own, uncovered. And when they bear children, they're gonna destroy those children. I don't expect for a rebellious woman to do anything good, to be honest with you, man. And I'll land my plane there for right now.
All right, appreciate you, brother. Alonzo, you got the flow, my brother.
Salute to the panel, salute to the chat. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm gonna come from a different perspective. Um, it may not be a popular opinion, right? I understand that, you know, there's a lot to be held on the women. But in terms of, you know, rebellious spirit and stuff, where do we play a part in having pole control and not spreading our seed to these women, right? Now, I understand things happen. Sometimes you can't control it, but the, you know, accountability lays on both sides in some of these things, right? And so what ends up happening is we do sometimes we go for the glitter and the gold, and you know, crazy box is sometimes a good box, but then we realize that, you know, they're crazy and effeminate. We've had 40 years of seeing this example, so we kind of are running off. And conversations like this are not for us who are in our 40s. They're for the younger guys to not make these mistakes, right? And so that they can see the writing on the wall, and we're throwing a billboard, hey, if you go this direction, you're going to end up with a result. You're not going to be with this woman. She might, you know, feminize your son. But where do we, you know, like, because a lot of it is we didn't have examples, right? I'm in my 40s. I know dudes in their 60s who are age of my father, but they weren't there. So I have nothing but, you know, a bunch of effeminate women, and you're gonna end up being the collective of what you're around, right? And so you know, I always like to throw a wrench into play and give some contrarian views, right? Um, so I'm looking at it like, okay, yes, these are things that are actual fact. The drag queen thing is so true. The baby hairs, the anthrax, or the, you know, the fake behind and all that. That stuff is absolutely true and factual, right? Well, when do we start controlling and saying, you know what? I'm not going to even give you the benefit of getting my seed because you're not worth it, right? And bring back shaming, maybe, and on both ends, and saying, you know, you're a guy who's not in your kid's life. I can't trust you. You're a crazy woman. You're probably gonna, you know, try and go wild and keep my kids away from me, or, you know, put them people in my life. And so, where do we as the men hold on to it and say, you know, we are the leaders. So, you know what? We're gonna just like a cancer, a gangrene, cut that rotten piece of our body off so that it doesn't infect the rest of us. I'll land there and let everybody yell at me and call me blue pill.
No, I don't think that's the case at all. And honestly, I think black men have been working toward that, which is why the men who have children number has went down. Because when you're in a society where people ain't dying in war, we got modern medicine now. We ain't had faced no famines. That most black men should have reproduced. The fact that we have not reproduced, I think we are somewhat going in the right direction. We gotta reproduce though. It's just that I think we have to accept that we're gonna have to reproduce with other women, because if we go down the current trend, then we'll just go into extinction. Not saying it's bad, because you got to make certain corrections, but and I got a false guy. I don't know, you never been to the show. You still gonna keep your place. I'm gonna bring you up. I just gotta, what I'm saying, have you speak without putting you on the screen first. But I got you, so don't think I'm ignoring you. Don't think I'm ignoring you. And I appreciate what you just did, because at least that tell me you're a black guy. So appreciate that. But let me get Shark get in real quick. And matter of fact, hold on, Shark. I think this brother's coming up. I'm pretty sure I know who this. Obama gave my whack a charity.
No.
Yeah.
Let Shark go first. I gotta redo my thing. Let Shark go first.
Okay, well, go ahead. Well, I got Shark and I got somebody else backstage too that he's just new to the show. That's all as far as getting on screen. I don't have no bad feelings about it, y'all. I don't even think it's a troll at all. I'm just being careful. I do not think the brother backstage right now is a troll at all. I don't get no troll vibes right now because I didn't got him before. All right, go ahead, Shark. He said let you go.
Microphone check. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Can you hear me well?
You low, but I hear you.
All right. I hope this is better. This is better for you.
Now you regular. Yeah, now you regular again.
All right. I want to comment on a couple of things you said. As far as there should be more black men, black men aren't having babies, and there should be more black men, and we're doing what we're supposed. No, these black women are aborting most of the babies that most of these black men should have had that don't have children right now. You dig it? And they most of the time they aborting those babies because those are black men that they understand they're not going to be able to control like they want to control. The second point is a lot of those things, like when you was talking about clothes, when you was coming up, I think we around the same age. All of that's propaganda and social engineering. Before we was on the scene, they was wearing some of the tightest stuff ever. And they was trying to look like Melly Mel, Grandmaster Flash, and all of these dudes. If you look at breakdancing, they was wearing tight stuff until they got into the sweats and all of that stuff. So it's all social engineering. The pink, they put it on camera on a rap video. Every black man in the world wanted to get the girl, so they was trying to look like Cameron. It's all social engineering onto the black women wanting to be around homos, and I'm sorry about that, wanting to be around gay guys. It's just social engineering. Once you and a lot of the problems, a lot of the guys who get their children aborted and don't know is because they're not able to be socially engineered. Our whole lives, like you said earlier, we've been socially engineered to only buck up against black men. We've been socially engineered to kiss women's behinds at every chance we get. We've been socially engineered to do all kinds of things to fit into a woman's perspective of what she wants. Not be a man, just fit into what she wants. Get your hair cut like she wants. And it's crazy. That's why I always tell my homies, I always tell them, the average black man doesn't understand. He's not getting pussy. Pussy is getting him. And if somebody needs me to expound on it more, I would do it for them. But always understand, like a lot of these dudes do not understand. They don't get pussy. Pussy literally gets them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'll land my plane right there. I ain't got a lot of
Venus fly trapping these niggas.
Okay. We're gonna play the clip after Shark. Y'all, that's me telling myself. No, that's my man in the back, Compassion Counts. But I got you, brother. Go ahead, run that clip, and y'all, you know what I'm gonna do after the clip, y'all. I'm actually gonna give it to False God first because I don't think he a troll at all. I just don't see it that way, and I want him to be able to get his statement in, especially with him being a new person. So we're gonna play the clip, then we're gonna hear from False God after that. Go ahead, brother.
Black women see them fucking dudes as a form of them dominating men. Black women or women in urban culture actually see it as a form of dominating men. They see it as a form of getting a man to submit. When women view it as you submitting to them, just want to fuck my nigga. View that as a form of you bending the knee to them. That's how they see it. That's how matriarchal it is. Like, for real.
Shout out to Edward Anderson. One more again. Shout out to Edward Anderson. But False God, you are now on the panel. You have the mic, my brother. Go right ahead and let me know. This is your first time seeing the Roger Report live, or have you watched in the background and beforehand?
Yeah. Peace to the panel, peace to the chat, peace to everybody tuning in to the station today. I've tuned in before, and I always, have respected what you bring to the table, my brother. Topics that you speak on are relevant. So, this one here specifically, I feel like it is time for Black men to continue to stand firm on the principles of family and order, and lifting up our sisters is as much as we can. I know a lot of them is been, like my brother was just speaking on. They've been subjected to the socialism and the constructs of fitting into this wicked ass society, and the only way that we're gonna stop that is by standing firm on what we already know to be true, which is honor, dignity, respect amongst our community members, and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So from my perspective, I think we all need to continue to live at a higher level of what we already know. Our ancestors held a high standard of family and structure, and even when it came to just worshiping, doing good works to each other and raising these kids right. That's really what it's about. From my perspective now in the future, is like, I got daughters myself, and I see the peril that they have in front of them and the examples of all of these negative examples of women. So for me as a father, I'm like, I got to be good to them and show them and teach them, um, by example, and my words, how to be a good woman. Because these older women, they shot, it's done for. They already set in their ways. A lot of them, they too far gone to even, kind of be saved from themselves. So we just got to focus on, I guess, the next generation of our daughters and nieces and nephews, and try to shape their hearts and minds to be more righteous in loving each other and respecting each other and raising families in the right way. So just y'all stay solid on your square. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody shake you from being a loving father or even a good, respectful husband, because that is super blessed. I believe wholeheartedly that the families are blessed when the father is honored. So we stay firm. I feel like the blessings for our children will fall, and I think in time to come, the spiritual grade of our sisters, and ourselves will rise up if we stay up ourselves. So that's all I got to say, man. Y'all stay up. Like I said, peace to the panel, respect to the host. It's all love and light, man. Peace to my brother.
Peace, brother.
Okay, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, and just so y'all know, I don't see anyone else backstage. I know Alonzo, you was just telling me something, but I don't see anyone else backstage at this particular point. But if they show up, I got them. Okay, if they show up, I got them. Appreciate the word to the wise, I say. All right.
Chef.
So is this? Well, Chef Mike then came up. Let's see what Chef. Did you come to participate, or we? What's going on, Chef?
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to find yourselves this day. Greetings to you, Roger, everybody on the panel. What's going on, fellas?
I'll go, Chef.
All right. Roger, I actually came up because I see we have a number of folks participating on the panel right now, and because I see my main man, Compassionate and Callous in the background on the ones and twos. I wanted to actually do something that we said we would do from time to time. I wanted to actually give the rules of engagement for the Roger Report Live. And since I'm doing it now, I want to ask Compassionate and Callus to actually clip this. And Roger, you can do whatever you want to do, with that clip. But here are the rules of engagement. Welcome to the Roger Report Live. Let's go over the rules of engagement so that everyone is on the same page. Rule number 1, no talking over the host. Respect the flow of the conversation. Rule number 2, stick to the subject of the show. We're here to have focused and meaningful dialogue. Rule number 3, be respectful to others as they speak because courtesy goes a long way. Rule number 4, everyone is afforded a 2-minute uninterrupted opening statement. Use it wisely. Rule number 5, different opinions are welcome, but you must remain respectful at all times. Rule number 6, keep the cursing to a minimum. We are passionate, but let's keep it clean. Now here's the bottom line. Any violation of these rules will result in the pit crew issuing a firm no soup for you. At that point, you will be immediately removed from the panel and not allowed to return for the day unless the pit crew designates a longer time out. We want healthy debate, strong opinions, and real conversation, but above all, we want respect. Welcome to the Roger Report Live. I'll land my plane right there.
Okay,
Well put.
appreciate it, Chef, and we'll definitely jump on that right away because we should have been did that. So shout out to you, brother, for looking out. Real talk. Okay, well, that means we got to get our I believe, brother, Lavender Marriage in. You got the mic, my brother. You have the mic.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Shout out to you. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to the chat. And shout out to everyone in Lavender Marriages. So D Wade and Gabrielle Union, congrats. And when we're talking about Black women's love for feminine men, I don't know if you can show my picture on a large screen, but this is what you get when you deal with women who have a lot of feminine men as friends. Now, see, the thing about it is, I hear about social engineering. See, look at that. A boy, that used to be a boy. That used to be a boy. And she has a lot of feminine Black men friends. Or feminine men friends, right? Of the alternative lifestyle. And this is your reward, gentlemen. This is your reward. Now, I do hear the social engineering part, but I'm gonna have to pull the wool. I'm gonna have to remove the veil a little bit. The reason why Black women love feminine men is because that's the only man that their mother saw got respect. Because they all sitting up there at the hairdresser, kikiing, chatting, right? And that feminine man is up there just chatting away. And on top of that, they're asking this nigga for dating advice. So, gentlemen, all of you who are with a Black woman, you should do quality control, because if she's sucking the soul out of you and she learned it from a feminine man, I'm not sure how you should feel about that. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. But anyway, that's a side note. So you should quality control that. But thank you. Back to the subject at hand. The reason why they love them, because that's what they saw their mother respect. That was the only brother that wasn't called a nigga. See, grandma called us, get these niggas out my kitchen. See? Grandma would be like, you look just like your father, bum ass, you know what. But little big booty Keisha saw mama laughing with the hairdresser, kikiing with the hairdresser, respected him, never called him out his name, and she even listened. And so that's why that's why she loves him, because mama taught her how to do it. And I pass the mic on that.
Man, I'm gonna say well stated, brother, and I cannot say you wrong. That's a heck of an angle, but I definitely hear it. All right, we got this obviously was an interesting show title. We got a
Can
few
I?
people. I'm pulling up, y'all. We got a few people. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, brother.
So if you don't remember anything else, y'all nigga better be doing some quality control, because I wouldn't feel right my girl knocking me out from getting that information from the feminine man.
Can I add something? I have a question.
All right. Oh, whoever that. Oh, that must be the new guy. Lee, give me
Correct.
1 minute.
Absolutely, no problem.
We're about to get to you. I try to make sure everybody who comes up gets an opening statement, because I just don't believe you come to a quote unquote talk show and you don't get a chance to talk. That doesn't make sense to me. So
thank you.
We're about to get to you, but everybody gets an opening statement when they come in, and we have and that's what I'm saying. This must be a very interesting subject, because we're getting a big panel today. So we may do a little bit of overtime. But Jado has come up, so I need to get Jado in, and then Lee, we'll get you in right after. We'll get you in right after Jado, and then we'll get Santana, who just joined in. I'll let all y'all get in. So Jado, you got the mic. Do your thing. We're gonna get Lee right behind you.
Hey, good morning, Roger. Hey, good morning, fellas. Hope y'all doing well, man. Everybody in the chat, peace, y'all. Shout out to the replay gang as well. I'll try to keep it as quick as possible, man. During my times in the military, man, I noticed, and this isn't exclusively black men, but I used to notice it with black men a lot, especially when I moved up in the ranks and I started really directly supervising and managing black men. They in order when I gave them a direct order, sometimes they would try to charm me off of my position or off the order. They would try to, do stuff that they would do. I would imagine that they did with their mama, their aunties, female cousins and stuff like that. They would try to, laugh and joke and charm me off of my position or whatever. And they would easily follow directions more if it came from a female, particularly a black female in the same position or rank as I am. They will easily follow that. And I noticed that trend quite a bit. And I noticed, man, these black women, they want you to be pliable like them. They wanna make you the feminine position is the one that's more pliable and the more manipulative or easily manipulated. Let me put it that way. Stuff like that. So I'm talking about the behavior and stuff like that. I think the fashion and the exterior, the aesthetic is a big thing too. Also, I don't want to dismiss that, but the behavior is what I noticed. Is if they can convince you into being a more feminine man, you're easily pliable, and they can mold you and make you to what they want you to be, and they would hold some power over you, essentially. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've noticed or whatever. And I've said this on your previous channels, Roger. Like, and I know some guys didn't quite agree with me, man. I don't argue with women at all. I don't argue. I recognize that I'm the authority, and I'm not going to go tit for tat with you. I'm not going to go back and I'm not going to say something to you. You raise the octave of your voice, the tone of your voice, and then I'm going to match that tone and go tit for tat with you. I'm going to give you what it is. And if you don't agree or you think or you want to disobey, then I'm going to give you consequences for it. Point is just as simple as that. And also like I said, when I was in the military, man, I noticed a lot of the black men, they didn't like direct talk or direct orders, man. Straight up and down. They wanted this word that we like to use, finesse. And I know, and I'll go, it has this context that it should be, but we say finesse and stuff like that instead of just being direct. And I think, man, when they keep making us more and more pliable, then the less and less power we're going to be able to wield or whatever. And I guess I'll end right here. I'm kind of jumping back and forth, but in a fashion sense, man, and I'm talking about without the context, not in a homosexual context. I'm talking about heterosexual people, men and women, heterosexuals. A lot of these trends, man, they had this short. I don't know if it's still going on. Hoochie Daddy shorts. I don't know if you. I'm sure you guys heard that at some point, where dudes were wearing like coochie cutters, practically. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or you're wearing jeans so tight that are, showing all the curvature of your calves and your quads and all that stuff, man. And I think a lot of I think black men are so caught up in making, because women are easily enamored, they're easily pliable, so we try to fall into a state where we're trying to do things to get them enamored with us on a physical level and stuff like that. Anyway, man, I'll let somebody else get a chance to speak, and I'll jump in wherever I can. Thanks for having me up, bro.
Wait, Roger, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, Shark. We still got two more people that ain't had a chance to speak though. But go ahead.
Yo, Jado, the men following the fashion is a dog whistle to females to say this nigga is very pliable for me to do what I want to do with.
Absolutely. 100%.
Now I'm gonna say this. Now, Chef just came up here and laid out the rules about the 2-minute open statement. Y'all see, Jado don't care nothing about what we talking about up here. He just brushed right past that. We cool like that, Jado.
Hey, what was my time, Roger? Anybody clock me? Who clocked me? Nah, my bad, brother.
No, it's cool. It's cool. But y'all, we do want to try to keep things within that 2-minute period, because I know everybody got some things to say, and everybody give up their time to come be a part of this. And I just want to make sure the conversations flow well. So let's just keep that in mind. Now, we do have another guest, so I'm gonna say welcome to you too, because I believe this is your first time here at the Roger Report Live. Lee, you have the floor.
Thank you. Peace to everyone, first of all. I have a little different take on things and would invite you to take a look outside the box on this stuff. So one thing when I came in, Roger, is that I noticed you were talking about the history of fashion. First of all, let me say this about myself. I am a humanist and a life strategist. So I teach people how to live a happier life. I teach people how to have peace of mind about the past, joy about the present, optimism about the future. So what I've noticed is what you were saying in regards to the fashion. I'm not quite sure how old you are, but I may be a little older. I'm 61. So what I remember fashion being is different things and different trends. So at one point when they had Jordache jeans out, Sergio Valente, do you remember that, Roger? Or
Yeah, I remember those.
Okay, those were tight, and people wore them. Men wore them. Then you had biker shorts. So I was just thinking about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when that intro, he had on biker shorts. So men have worn tight clothing. Wearing clothing, right? Trends happen. Long, short, long hair, short hair, all of this stuff. So to judge a person by a trend may not lead. See, I have a theory about things, which is you have attracting energies and repelling energies. Attracting energies are energies people want to be around. Repelling energies are people or energies that repel you from happiness and repel happiness from you. So to judge a person by clothing in which they can change. To judge in that regard is a repelling energy because, as you said, fashion changes. I'm not going to judge a person on the color they wear because things change. As you said today, people were wearing pink at a certain time. They weren't. These things change. What doesn't change are principles and energies and what we were taught, which is to accept people for who they are, to be open-minded enough so that they can be open-minded with you and show who they truly are without having to worry about some standard that goes up and down. And that's something that is a repelling energy when you're judging on something as insignificant as a color. I'm not going to judge someone's character on a piece of clothing that they wear. That's not logical. I don't care what color you wear. I care what your character is. I don't care how long your hair is, how short it is, whether or not it's twisted. I remember when if you had kinky hair, you were looked upon as, oh man, you were unkempt. So changes happen. The world changes, fashions happen. What does not change are principles. Are you projecting good energy? Is your energy attracting? Is your energy attractive to human beings, not just women or men, but to human beings? And if we focus on that, I think things would be better. Things would be better in our relationships. If we focus on, are we radiating attractive energies or repelling energies?
Okay.
So, Lee, if I can ask.
Well, I just want to say one thing. Go ahead first, Alonzo. Go ahead.
When in regards to, because I understand the attracting and the repelling energies, and I can definitely understand your stance on that. But in regards to the major crux of the topic, in terms of Black women appreciating or applauding, if you will, or loving feminine men, again, my stance on that is if men control kind of our seed, so on and so forth, there's that. But in terms of attracting or repelling, in terms of Black women's love for feminine men, where would your stance be on that? But I believe some other gentlemen also have some questions.
Well, just a quick aside. I would just say, first of all, let's define what feminine is. Before you can do that, you have to kind of, have a standard so that we're all on the same page. I think, because I'm not quite sure, Roger, when you say feminine, I'm not quite sure what that means. I have an idea, but I don't want to misconstrue or misinterpret. So if you can kind of reiterate what the feminine.
What we're talking about is
what that means.
What we're talking about is things that are generally accepted as female behavior versus things that are generally accepted as male behavior. And I get you came in where we were talking the fashion part. The point that I was making with that was back in the day, everybody generally understood that pink was for girls and blue was for boys. That was the thing. Okay. So as a man who grew up in that time period, for me to wear pink is me being effeminate, because that was what the standard was laid out that it was. So if I'm going to do something to make myself be more like a girl, pink was just one way of expressing that. Then I'm trying to be effeminate. The same way if I wear some lipstick right now, because that's generally associated with something that women do. If I'm wearing lipstick, I'm trying to be effeminate. If I put on nail polish, I'm trying to be effeminate. if something is accepted that this is something that the women or girls do, and these other things are something that's generally accepted that this is what men and boys do, once you start going to do the other thing, you're expressing who you are. It's not about the thing they did. It's about them expressing who they are.
Okay, so I kind of understand what you're saying. I just
Oh my
want to
God.
know what you would consider feminine. So I understand lipstick, right? Is something that women normally do. Gotcha on that. However, let's say an earring. At one time, men didn't wear earrings. Then men
Chef
started
Mike.
wearing earrings.
Why did they
At one
start wearing
time,
earrings?
Chef Mike, what's going on, Chef Mike? What is
No, I mean
happening right
this is not open stage
I,
heat because remember what's the name
I
said something. Now I'm letting them get this out because I got to get Santana in too, and
now?
y'all.
What is happening right now?
No, he the man he's new. He just new. That's
Roger, he's 61 years old, man. Come on.
what.
And he
Hey,
don't and he don't understand
after
these basic gems. A person's character, how you dress says
Oh,
something
excuse
about your character. The things that you choose to follow as a grown person says something about your character. If you know men didn't wear earrings at one time, and then all of a sudden men are wearing earrings, you gotta ask, what's up with this person's character if he's not able to stand and be himself? He gotta follow trends. Following trends does not show strong character.
And I would say as a man myself personally, my ears have yet to be pierced. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die with my ears unpierced because when I was a child, girls wear earrings because I've never had a goal to be a girl. I've never got my ears pierced. It's just that simple, you know.
I
By the way,
want to make
can I
I
say
do
something really
understand it,
quick?
but I mean, like people like Michael Jordan wore earrings,
Why would I
so
agree?
he
I
was
mean,
the
Michael
epitome
Jordan was doing something
of
effeminate.
masculinity.
Yeah, he
Just
was
because
doing
Michael
something.
Hold on.
Jordan is doing something
Uh huh.
effeminate doesn't make it right.
There you
And
Or
go.
we
But I mean,
could
like
it be?
Michael
and
Jordan
we
is a bad example. You don't even know who his dad is. But anyway,
and
let
we
me get back to
He well, wait.
That's
He
that's
terrible.
a
had a
joke.
We
That's
got
a
father in
joke,
his
y'all.
life.
hold
Oh
on,
yeah.
Lee. We got to get to Santana
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
yeah,
I was gonna
can we
say,
get
y'all hold on.
Santana
But
in?
no. What?
yeah,
No, hold on. I have
we
privilege. No, do I not have privilege?
He pulling
well,
rank.
you do. So go ahead.
So I mean, Alonzo interjected before Santana, who don't have privilege, and I have privilege. So I just want to know what's the rules here. But anyway, what I want to I just want to make this simple, gentlemen. I think we're overcomplicating the situation. Childhood is very fundamental on our foundation for go, no go. So for my military people, go, no go. When you see your mother respecting Twan, that is a go. Your mom taught you that Twan should be respected. Your mom told you that Twan can know the secrets. Your mom told you that Twan can kiki with you. And the mother taught little girls on Twan is a person that you go to, right? Twan is what do they call that? The male replacement of the father she never wanted you to have. And that's the bottom line. That's why they love effeminate men, because mama loved Twan. And I pass the mic.
Okay, well let's let Santana get in and Lee, I do want to ask you something. I may ask it in the private chat because it's gonna make a difference. Or if
No,
maybe
you
I
can
catch
ask
you
it.
after the show.
No. We're good. We're good.
No, no,
This is
no. Yeah,
open
this
talk.
is
So
not about you doing anything wrong, brother. This ain't about you doing anything wrong. It's
I
totally
know.
different
I
thing.
know. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Uh,
Cool.
all right, Santana, you the last person that didn't get an opening statement, so you go ahead, my brother.
Well, actually, out of respect for the panel, I actually want to hear the questions y'all had to ask Lee because I remember I said something a couple weeks ago and everybody was jumping on me with questions and he made kind of a couple weird statements. So I just want to hear what everybody got to say about what he just said.
Okay, well before we get into that, let me say shout out to Black Hole Strikes, y'all. He says, Roger, if the Bears QB Taylor Williams stopped wearing black fingernail polish, You think he would stop playing like a girl?
Probably. Listen, I want to make a quick statement to something Lee said. Lee's talking about fashion. He's talking about fashion and how fashion changes and stuff like that. And he's looking for something that's solid. One thing that's solid is the word of God. It's solid. And in the word of God, it tells us a man should not wear anything that pertains to a woman, and a woman shouldn't wear anything that pertains to a man. It also speaks about hair. It says it's a shame for a man to have long hair because it's an identifying marker for a woman. And it's a shame for a woman to have short hair. That's unchangeable. Doesn't matter what the fashions are. God's word is unchangeable. Stop playing these games on these slippery slopes. You know, brother, you're older than me. I'm saying this with respect. But stop playing games on these slippery slopes. You know the difference, brother. Stop playing up here, bro.
Well, what difference is it that you are assuming that I know? Let me ask you that.
Yeah, I assume that you know the difference between a thing that pertains to a woman and a thing that pertains to a man, no matter what time and place it is in. We know. I'm almost
Well,
50 years old myself. We know the
right.
difference, brother.
So I'm as I said, so I gave an example of there's certain things that you said that are kind of obvious. Okay, so wearing a dress, right? Normally that's associated with women. Got you. As you said,
Right.
lipstick associated with women. Got you.
Yes.
Now, the earring thing, the jewelry thing, those things kind of change, right? The color thing, that has changed.
Well, just because the world changes doesn't mean God changes. In the Bible, the earring is called an awl, and the awl is a sign of a slave. It's actually something none of us is supposed to be doing. But go on,
Hey,
brother.
Okay,
hey, that's why
Amen.
and
that's why I
pertaining
was
to
talking
that,
to.
right? Can I just say
But
that?
hold
And,
on. But
go
let,
ahead.
let me
No,
say this
I'm sorry.
because I don't want
Sure,
y'all
go
to get
ahead.
too off track. This what I'm saying. Because Michael Jordan did start wearing an earring. Now, I don't know Mike, so I don't know why he ever put an earring in his ear. Did I agree with Mike wearing an earring? No. Now I'm from Chicago. Y'all know I love Michael Jordan and the Bulls and all that stuff. I didn't never agree with him wearing no earring. If he was my buddy, I would have told him, bro, take that earring out your ear. You ain't no girl. That's what I would have
LeBron's the
told him.
GOAT.
You know what I'm saying? Now, the thing is, because he's a celebrity, does that make it okay for men to start wearing earrings just because a celebrity put an earring on? And
That's
you can use this with any particular thing. So a celebrity could start wearing a dress. Does that mean I'm gonna stop wearing pants and start wearing dresses because some celebrity I like? What? No, I'm a man. I want to do things associated with men.
right.
Period.
I
Roger,
think I
Roger,
think Lee
Hey,
had a
Roger,
can I get in real quick? That's why I spoke about pliability.
one
You know
moment.
what I'm? Hold on, real quick. That's why I talked about pliability, being able to be. So
One moment now.
when you start to,
Uh,
and when you start to inch. Now, when we talk about principles are supposed to be rigid and undying, right? But sometimes the spastic thing can be indicative of your behavior. So when they get you to inch closer and closer to something different, next thing you know, you're all the way over. You've gone past your principles. So they can just say, okay, you know what? Earrings, that's okay, no problem. Okay, tight pants are okay, no problem. Okay, this wear pink is okay, no problem. Next thing you know, you're in a dress, man.
yep,
can I get
That's
exactly.
in?
how it works. They inch you. They inch. It's like what they say: the frog in the boiling water. What's the parable or
Right,
whatever?
yeah. I
That's
know what you're
what
talking
that's what
about.
The
it's
frog
about.
doesn't know. Yeah,
Can I get
if
in?
you
I,
boil the water
That yeah.
slowly, the frog won't jump out of a pot of boiling water. If you turn
Yeah.
the
So
temperature up. So, Bob, let me say this really quickly. Jado, I want to apologize about. I want to apologize to you because now I see the BS. So I want to apologize. You were right. You were right. You were right.
Oh, okay.
I think I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, you were right. You were right.
I was a
Oh,
little
I
scared when
like
he
that.
said that, but let me get Inspired Truth Broadcast in because he said he wanted to say something, and then I'm gonna give the floor to the nameless protagonist because he just came up. So Inspired Truth Broadcast, you have it, brother.
All right, good to see Nameless in the building. Oh, all right. So here's the thing that I'd like. I like that he actually brought this up because there's a difference between superficial and actual depth. Like, there's indicators of things, and then there's the actual thing itself. So putting more putting more attention on the character of the person, on the masculine energy of the person, aside from color scheme, because character isn't color scheme. That's a deeper thing. That's a topic that we and a trend line that we need to actually talk about. That we need to actually a direction that we actually need to discuss. Now, in terms of like masculine versus feminine, we know what that actually is. Like we know, okay, more submissive, that's gonna be female. More pliable, that's gonna be female. More decisive, domineering, more dominant, that's gonna be men. But the the thing that I do want to try to like give like a lifeline to Lee on is that he did bring up a good point when he mentioned that, okay, the type of clothes that we wear does actually change. The colors that we wear does actually change. We shouldn't get too bogged down in that and dismiss the whole concept of character and principle.
I don't know about that, man.
I mean, there is a point. There is a point in that, but I'm saying that but it is indicative of behavior or culture.
How
Like when they're able to sway you back and forth so easily with fashion, so to speak, they can sway you with ideology the same way.
Yep.
well, I think
It goes hand in
another
hand. It
way.
goes.
I think another way to look at it, right, could be that being open-minded to different concepts. You know what critical thinking is? It's that you take everything into consideration. You're not so rigid that you think you know it all, that you can't take in new information or new perspectives, that you can't evaluate new information or new perspectives. So,
Hey, bro.
there's a thing about rigidity because that means you're fixed at that one point. Like there's no information that's happened since then.
But there
That's what
hasn't
the
been
devil
any new
told Eve.
information.
Hey,
There hasn't been new information in the past 40 something years. At the end of the day, when we're talking about character, qualities, and personalities, we're nameless. Please speak on this. It starts with the parents, right? So when we're talking about the social engineering, yes, it has its place, but the person who has the strongest engineering over a child in his formative years is the mother. And women and little girls are exposed to feminine men very early in their lives. See, we go to the barber shop, right? Where there's sports and things like that. But 9 times out of 10, the first nigga she see is Twan.
Okay, now
And,
let me.
we, and, we're, and we're not recognizing that. It's going to be the male teacher, Sugarfoot gospel leader, gospel leader of the choir, and Twan. Right? 50% of the men she's going to meet up front is going to be some nigga in tight jeans with nail polish.
Can I also add something,
Hold
That's
on
going
one
to be
second.
her
One
first
second.
experience.
All right. Leave if you can do me a favor and put in the private chat and anything that's in the private chat we're not telling nobody. Can you state your year of birth in the private chat if you don't mind? Just state your year of birth. I'm not trying to make it public at all. We don't do stuff like that over here. We don't quote unquote dox people and none of that type of stuff. I just need to know for me. Okay. Now I'm gonna say, y'all, I did pull him off stage. Chef actually he threw some crackers at him. I'm gonna call it throwing crackers, Chef, if you don't mind. Okay. Because he put in the phrase, y'all. If y'all ain't been around long enough to know, we don't serve soup to trolls. We give them crackers. But you know what? I want to say let's throw crackers at people. just because that's funny to me. You know what I'm saying? If you disagree, let me know, Chef, or we'll talk about that after the show. But he actually said toward Lee, he put the crackers on Lee. Lee, if you're unaware what that means, is anybody can be pulled off the show immediately from someone from the pit crew. So shout out to the entire pit crew, Chef Mike, shout out to J Dub, shout out to Mr. Shook, to you. If something is going on and they not getting where you coming from, they gonna pull you. And I give them that power, and I'm never going to go against that power. So you have been pulled for the rest of the day. That doesn't mean you can't come back because they haven't given you any extended leave, but you have been pulled for the rest of the day. And what I believe what happened is when you start asking what is masculine, what's feminine, and by you being 61, I think they took that as trolling. That's what my guess is at this particular point. And y'all, this is a show for intelligent people, so y'all got to be careful about what y'all gonna ask and what y'all gonna imply, because we expect smart people to be here. We don't mind dummies being in the chat. If you don't know and you don't understand, you know what I'm saying. And I don't really believe anybody's really a dummy. But if this is a place for you to learn and just stay in the chat for a while, do that. If you feel like coming up, come on up. But don't expect people to not think you're a smart person. And we want smart people on the show. Okay, we do expect intelligence. We want intelligence to be here. We think it's a valuable thing for people to be listening to an intelligent show. We don't do the dumb stuff over here. So I think in this particular case, and Chef, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Once you said you were 61, and then you put a question out there like you don't understand what masculine and feminine is, I don't think that played well with the pit crew. That's what I truly believe. So y'all be careful how y'all try to present some stuff. Okay. And I'm gonna say y'all were going a little bit away from the topic because the topic is about Black women's love for feminine men.
Right.
We know feminine men exist. My thing is, as Black men in this society and as Black women in this society, why are we not asking ourselves, why do they love feminine men in the first place? Because do we see that as something good for us? Now, I'm not saying they can't exist. We live in America. You can do what you want to do here. Not saying they can't exist, but do we think any woman who claims to be straight, does it make sense for her to have love for feminine men beyond the love you should have for any human? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Some
Well, I
some of
mean,
these women
Well,
are attracted to compromised men, and who's more compromised than an effeminate man?
wait, the name is still in
That's
Exactly.
here?
but the thing is that at the end of the day, man, her first female friend, well, not her first female friend, but her first father figure was most likely a compromised man. And on top of that, you see, bro, if you see your mom getting along with this man and you see your mom getting along with another type of man, the brain associates shit. Excuse me, brain associate things. Therefore, right? Mom gets along well with this type of guy, good. Mom doesn't get along with a responsible, upright guy, bad.
Mm,
Mom likes the drug dealer, good, right?
yeah.
So the brain associates. So again, right, we're talking about the formative years. Bro, again, black women are introduced to feminine men at a very, very young age.
Hey, you know
Hey,
what?
so
Let me.
go ahead,
You
bro.
know, I actually think the Caleb Williams thing was actually interesting. And when the dude said that you're not supposed to go off how people look or whatever, you should just go off their character. I think you can easily determine a person's character and using Caleb Williams, for example, when he was painting his nails and stuff like that, it kind of made more sense that he was a feminine active person because wasn't he crying in college after losing games? So I mean, it's like you definitely can tell by the way a person dress or how they carry themselves. You can definitely determine if they're feminine or not.
oh,
No, I mean,
Santana's back.
so
God dang.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I
Santana.
mean,
Okay.
just the answer, and I agree with what you brothers just said. Like the answer to the question of the show is, yeah, they're easily controlled. They're easily manipulated. That's why they like that. That's why they appreciate that. And man, I'm not trying to throw shots at that brother, that the lead brother or whatever, but that was feminine behavior, man. And maybe it's just me. instead of I think he was playing, I don't want to say coy or whatever, but instead of directly making his argument or his point, he was trying to be slick and just, and, throw, hey, what is feminine? What's the definition? He was trying to make obfuscate everything and stuff, and kind of, I don't know. That's what I suspect he was doing. Maybe I'm wrong. You know
To
what I
the
mean?
chat, to the
but I
chat,
do.
to the chat, to the
Well,
chat,
hold on, yeah,
and
because
the
I was just
folks on
gonna
the
say I
panel.
don't think Lance got in.
My bad, brother. My
No
bad.
problem.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, go.
To the chat and the folks on the panel. Os.
Oh,
Oh,
That dude is actually why I came up here. I'm going to make something clear. What you experienced wasn't a claim towards critical thinking, nor an appeal towards it. It was critical theory. Everything you just heard and what your intuition was telling you and why this just didn't resonate correctly with you is because it comes from the exact same school that gave birth to intersectionality and femininity or womanism as we understand it. And the idea of orthodox humanist behavior, humanist theory, is a back and forth rebuttal on what it is that restricts human beings. This is posited as some idea that is limiting human potential. And so if it's a statement in good faith, it's an argument to say, don't limit your understanding of the nature of a human being solely by their appearance. Of which point, the overwhelming majority of us up here and those that are listening instantly intuited an insult to our intelligence. We know what a spade is when we see it. We know what it is to observe specific male and female predicated marketing. People have been around long enough to see when pink was masculine and then it became feminine, and vice versa. We know what these things are, but what we also know is that many of these things that have been attributed to masculinity, irrespective of how they're placed, especially when it comes to sticking to a rigid adherence towards tradition, have become pathologized as problems that so-called limit human potential, when in truth they are axioms designed to actually bring forth cooperation alongside with women, because it's with men and women that civilization is co-created and co-written. Understand, you only get these things with a pure element, and this push towards androgyny has been proven and is very highly brought forward and center in this space as a hostile act of sterilization. That's all I wanted to say on that.
Hey, can I actually give a
Yeah, I
little
mean,
push? Can I actually give a
Amen,
little
neighbor.
pushback?
Amen.
hold on.
Can I
As
actually give
soon
a
as
little?
he said that I'm a humanist, I was like, oh my god. I was just like, man,
Mhm.
Hey, can I actually
oh
give
my
a little
god.
pushback?
I just wanted to scream because I mean, we hear that all the time in academia, right? Hear that with bell hooks and stuff like that, and what it means to be a person and stuff like that. And the problem with academics, because he's I don't know him, but the problem with people who hold the same rhetoric as academics is that all this is a mental masturbation session. And I like to masturbate in private. So I just don't want to hear that. Right?
Can I?
That's just the bottom line.
Hey, can I actually give a little pushback to the title of the show? Because
yeah. Go ahead, Santana. Go ahead.
my opinion, and it's a question too, but I'm trying to figure out how would black women love feminine men if soon as they get into it with a man, that is a
They
shaming
call them
tactic
gay.
that they use.
I was
You
gonna mention
understand?
that. That's a very good
Yeah, yeah.
question. I was actually gonna mention that.
It's a shaming tactic. So it's like they arguing, they come instantly at your sexuality. So if they love those kind of men, why do they use that as a shaming tactic on straight
Because
men?
they're psychologically terrorizing you, man. They play both sides. They pretend to play both sides of the field, bro.
There's
Right.
They're
a
terrorizing. They're
I can
gaslighting
believe it.
you. I mean, I don't know whatever.
there's
No,
a
I can
good
believe that.
book. There's
So
a
that
good book.
mean they don't really love them then.
Santana, there's a good book I think that will speak directly to what you're observing. It's called The Delectable Negro. And what it gets into is this process of homoeroticism that gets imposed on the idea of black men in a general sense, and how that whole process of fetishization literally gets baked into the culture. And so when we talk about this idea of black feminine manhood, there is that component of taking out that whole animus, that whole anima, inner feminine modality, and then imposing it on a masculine frame and re-articulating masculinity from a feminine perspective, the way you would raise a bulldog to attack something. It's a kind of controlled, limited bandwidth of masculinity given very limited parameters to overexpress itself. But when it comes down to the actual components of giving direction and authority, it being completely and utterly gutted.
Quick question. Quick question. So, do you think being open-minded to another way of thinking is not masculine, or that's more on the feminine side?
That's not what I'm saying.
I didn't say that.
I know, not you. I'm saying that for anyone listening in the playback, because I want to highlight that because it could be easily misconstrued. Being open-minded is the same way as having that balance of instinct and control, and this is a big theme in martial arts. You have to have a measure of both in balance with intention. You just can't have these things exist in isolation. And when we observe this idea of the feminine, masculine dude that is over celebrated in the black community, demonstrated by a lot of black women's preference for this is animated by a fear factor. It's how do they maximize the benefit they want to extract from masculinity while preventing it to leading it to its inevitable conclusion, which is control and authority. And that's the theme I want to highlight here.
Right. And you can't.
I like to answer Santana.
Wait 1 second. And you cannot. The thing about having an open mind is only fair when the statements are coming in good faith. If you're coming with an agenda, which him claiming to be a humanist lets me know that there's an agenda behind this, right? What is attack on the hetero, cis, whatever names they have for a normal male. That it's an attack on that. It's an attack on that because right now in academia, that's the discussion. What is gender? Is gender a social construct and all this other garbage? Should you have an open mind to that? Absolutely not, because that's not based on good faith. It's not based on good science. So, of course, you need to shut it down immediately because at the end of the day, these types of conversations, these types of agendas are designed for your destruction, especially for a heterosexual black man. So, absolutely not.
So that's why I equate this idea of androgyny, which is a superimposed intellectual leap to equality. Any system that is meant to function, if it's equality and not under equilibrium, is a dead system. It's sterile. So what we're talking about at the end of the day is sterilization if you don't keep an understanding that these things require context. And to not insult people's intelligence by giving this broadband idea of don't judge a book by its cover. That's all I want to say on that.
When he came up and he asked as far as what is feminine and what is masculine, to me, I didn't see that as a trolling question because it is some people that feel like we have both traits inside of us. So it ain't like one that's
Let me say this to you, Santana. Let me say this to you. Real talk, if you got to ask that question, you ain't supposed to be on the panel. People with a general understanding are supposed to join the panel and talk about things from their understanding. If you got to ask questions that basic, you're supposed to be in the audience. Again, intelligence is expected here. If you're gonna come to anybody listening, if you come into my panel, I expect you to have a decent amount of intelligence. Talk about the subject you know about. If we're talking about something you don't know about it, that just ain't your discussion. You can come to another discussion where you do know about that particular thing. Heck, y'all can suggest something you want me to talk about and then join on that day. But if we're talking about women loving feminine men, that means you should at least be able to identify what a woman is. You should be able to identify what love is. You should be able to identify what femininity is. And you definitely should be able to identify what a man is. If you got to ask a question about any of those things, that's literally in the title of the show, this ain't the show for you.
I actually heard a person like him talk before, and they do believe like that's some type of social construct where it's that is being taught. It's not necessarily a real thing as far as like being feminine, being masculine.
Well, like,
It's like
But that's why
Roger said,
they should have
it's the
took
wrong
the
place.
Jado approach. Don't ask no question. Just start making your point. A lot of people ask questions because they think they can get other people caught up in something to make their point. You don't need me to answer a question a certain way to make a point. To make it, you can just make it. Right is going to be right at the end of the day.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and see, that's the thing, man. It's just like it wasn't in good faith. You know what I mean? Like, Santana, do you do drugs?
no, I don't.
Okay, so if I offer you some cocaine, are you going to take some?
No.
Why you don't keep an open mind about that?
I don't know. That's kind of a weird question because drugs
No,
do damage to your.
exactly. That's my point. Exactly.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but I don't see how those two the same. They're not similar.
But the thing is this is how I'm saying. Once he
Because
asked you,
I'm saying what you just talking about,
you
was
said
talking about being open minded to a different way of thinking. You talking about being open to some drugs.
This is what the difference is. He asked you, do you do drugs? You clearly said no. There's no point in action if you want some cocaine at that point. You already said you don't do drugs, period.
Right.
So asking you to do cocaine literally makes no sense beyond it at that point.
Okay, make it okay. How is that comparable to what he was talking about, just being open minded to a different way of thinking?
Being open-minded means you should not be principled in things. That's what being open-minded is. When you can talk about being open-minded to listening to somebody, but being open-minded to what they're talking about is totally different because you're supposed to be examining and analyzing whatever it is that they putting out there. Being open-minded to a quote-unquote different way of thinking. No, you're not supposed to be that. You're supposed to be rich. If you got a good idea, you should be able to give me a bunch of stuff that tells me why your idea is good.
Santana, the brother was trying to get you to smoke crack, bro. That's what it is. But he was doing it in a nice, pseudo intellectual way, in a pseudo intellect with these, I'm a humanist and all that stuff. He's trying to walk you into smoking cocaine, man. That's what he's trying to get you to do.
Right, because
and you say you don't do it.
Right, because
My
the
bad.
thing
Go
about
ahead.
it is that's what Nameless came up here and said, right? He said like this type of tropes and things like that are for the destruction of heterosexual men, in particular heterosexual black men. Right, so that's the point. But getting back to the subject, right? I mean, I don't know. I just know that women from a very young age are around a lot of feminine men from a very young age. And when something is socially acceptable.
You keep saying that,
Yeah,
but I'm
because this is where the love comes from, right? If I'm around something all the time, I'm going to get used to it. I'm going to get comfortable with it. It's going to be a part of, like, it's going to become a part of me. I'm going to get comfortable.
I don't see the love in it if they using it as a shame tactic. That can't be love.
There is no love, Santana. You're correct.
Yeah, that's
You're
what I'm
correct.
telling him. He studied saying what they love feminine men because they've been around them since they was kids.
They love
to use them.
They love
to use.
Exactly.
But they
love to use them.
Right? They hate masculine because they don't call people who are really that the G word. They call people who are not the G word that word, right? To demasculate, to emasculate you, right?
Facts.
Right? You don't see them getting in arguments and disrespecting feminine men like that.
Yeah,
because they're taught from a very young age to how to get along with them.
I ain't never seen no black woman argue with a gay man. Real
right?
talk.
From a very young age, and that's the point, right? She only knows how to disrespect and treat black men who are heterosexuals like SHIT.
I think Santana he's focusing on the word love. In that sense, you're right, man. It's not true love, man. They love to use these feminine men.
Right, because that's
so it's not real love.
I
Yeah,
think
that's the
I don't
title of
like.
the show,
I
and
got a little
I
bit of
don't
pushback
understand.
for Hot Sauce on what he's saying, because what he's saying is true to a certain extent. But when I watch, because I like to watch people, and when I watch black women with them, it's like they look at the gay guy as a lost puppy, and it's like a project for them. You know what I mean? And they just pick up a lost puppy and they just want to take it home and nurture it and hang out with it and all that, because it's like the only place that they really come into gay guys is probably like the first place is probably church, but like, you know
No,
what I
no,
mean? Like,
no, no. They meet him at the hairdresser, bro.
yeah, you're right,
They see
my
Twan
fault,
at the
you're right,
hairdresser.
you got that, you're right.
All right.
Right.
But they just
As
look at him as a
you
puppet
know,
dog. Like
All right.
back in the
Everybody.
days when we was in high school and the young boys that was kind of sweet, they always like threw them underneath the arm, like stop messing with him. You know what I mean? Type of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Well, but because they're doing that because they're thinking about Twan, who's older than them, and like, hey, Twan is a good dude.
Copy.
Yeah, there is something that goes along with familiarity. It's like a woman that liked to get abused. If her mama was getting abused when she was growing up, she seeks out a man who's going to abuse her. And a lot of people can't accept that she likes that. But she does like it because she will not be with a man who won't physically put his hands on her. So she likes it. Or you can say she even loves it, because some people, we deal with stuff that we don't like because we love it. That's what's normal to her. A lot of people don't get that what's presented as normal to a person, they love. And it takes a lot for a person to stop loving something that was presented as a normal thing to them when they was a child. But I'm gonna say everybody clam up real quick because Black Hoover done came up. Oh, did I bring him up?
Nah.
He dropped.
No. Black Hoover, well, I guess he was coming up, but maybe we lost him. Well, if he come back, I got him. But so I'm gonna say this, Santana, you gotta look at it like, okay, they will call a straight man gay, but they'll be friends with a gay man. Now the thing
Right.
is, a lot of black women think in the now. I got a joke that I be saying that black women don't be worried about nothing beyond 4 minutes ahead. See, I just want to hurt the straight man now, so I'm gonna toss the gay term at him. I'm not gonna consider how my gay friend thinks about this
Exactly.
because I'm in the now. Okay, tomorrow don't mean nothing to me right now. Next week don't mean nothing to me right now. If my gay friend hears this and he get upset about it, I'll deal with that then because I'm in the now.
Yeah.
So the thing
Right.
is, they just don't have enough respect for their gay friends to not do that. That's what the reality is. They don't
Right. You
respect
can
them
love
guys
someone
like
and
that.
not respect them. Right. You can love someone and not respect them.
No, that's not true.
No, that's not true.
Yes, you
That's
can.
not
Yes, you can.
true.
No, no, you
Yes,
can't. No, you can't, brother.
Well,
yes, you can.
regardless of what
And
people come down on that, because I don't want to get into an argument on that one at this particular moment. The thing is, I'm saying they don't respect them guys enough to not use the way they live their alternative lifestyle as a slander towards
Yeah.
somebody who's straight. Or you can say, truthfully, deep in their heart, they believe a straight man should be gay, which also could be a reason why they're doing it. They don't think you're right because you're straight.
But I don't think they respect those men that's taking something. That's just me
No,
though.
no, I'm just saying, realistically, you promote things because you like those things. If I promote a gym shoe, it's gonna be Jordans. I grew up in Chicago. I like Mike. I'm gonna wear Jordans. I'm not gonna promote Adidas because I
You
don't
know
feel
what?
Adidas like that.
I think that's what separates the male brain from the female brain. Well, I don't think as men we can hang around men too much longer if we don't respect them in a way. You know, that's crazy that a female can actually befriend a gay person but secretly despise the way they is. It's
Well, I'm
wow.
saying they may not despise the way the gay man is. They might despise you because you straight, which is why they promote it so much.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying, how do they despise me from being straight? I'm confused by that, right? I don't understand.
What I'm saying,
So
if a woman would prefer you to be straight, would prefer you to be gay, and you happen to be straight.
Who said that?
No, I'm saying it because she's calling you what she wish you was. If she's
That's
mad
not.
at
I
you
don't
and
believe that.
calling you gay, she's saying what she wish you was.
No, that ain't
If
true.
you would
That ain't
act
true,
like
uh,
my
bro.
gay friend, this wouldn't even be a problem right now.
That's
uh,
facts. That's
That
facts.
the
that's
That is
not
truth,
facts.
true.
The truth
That's
about it,
crazy.
Santana, the truth about it, Santana, she doesn't respect or love either man, the gay one or the one that she's calling gay. She
Okay.
doesn't respect or love either one. She's pretending for her
Uh-huh.
needs, man. That's
Right.
what it's about. She's playing both sides of the field.
Now, Roger, did you hear that? Because I agree with more with what Jay Doe saying. Y'all two not saying the
What
same
we
thing to
saying
me.
is not in conflict, brother.
Yeah, it's the
Nah,
same thing,
I'm
really.
not.
We just worded it different.
But it's
No.
no,
What
it's
I'm
not the
saying,
same. It ain't that.
no. What I'm saying is in conflict. What I'm saying is that she loves the effeminate man because her mother taught her to love the effeminate man, and she grew up around him. And because think, I mean, but what Roger said is true. Is that she's just thinking in the now. She don't care if she disrespect him, or she don't even care if she disrespect her own mother. Right now, she is angry. She is upset. She is pissed. So she gonna do any and everything in her toolbox to hurt you. That's all that matters right now. She's gonna tell you to eat her dick, and she don't even got one, but she gonna still tell you to do it.
Hey, but Twan's best friend, I think that's where Santana was asking questions. Do you think they truly love that feminine man? They don't love him either, bro. They're pretending to.
No, I don't
They're
think they're
just
pretending.
they're just
There's no
using
okay.
they're just using
Yeah,
them men, those
him
men.
and
They're using
him and
them.
him and
No, the
Roger
reason the
saying the
reason
same
the
thing.
reason why I would say they love him is because in their formative years they were taught and socialized to be around him, to understand him, listen to him, befriend him.
But
Who's
I'm gonna
back?
say this, y'all. And then we gonna give it to Black Rule. He just came up. I still don't think what you saying is in conflict with what me and Jada was saying. To me, all that goes together. But Black Rule was here, so let him get the mic real quick, because y'all, I was on Mr. Z show Saturday. Black Rule was talking, everything was heard fine, and Danny, I don't know what was going on. I'm just sitting over there like, oh, okay, so you come to my show with audio problems, but when you at Mr. Z show, everything fine. Hey, that's how we doing now. I could be in theory until I was on
I
the show
don't
with him.
know.
Yeah, but you got it, my
Do
brother.
you
You
do you
got
hear
it.
me?
I hear you fine.
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yes,
I hear
yes,
you fine.
Oh, okay.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
thanks for having me. One of the things, and I don't know, I haven't heard all of your shows, so I could have missed this point being emphasized. But one of the things that you have to view feminism, uh, uh, what femininity is by its purpose and action, a complement to the masculine. The feminine is supposed to support the masculine. So when you talk about the visual affectations of femininity, dress, styling, earrings, the way a woman speaks, the way she walks, we think of them as mere actions, but they're not just actions. They are actual support cues for the masculine. Think about how good you feel, how manly you feel when you see a woman dressed beautifully or smell particularly good or moves in a particularly graceful way. It invigorates your sense of manliness, your sense of manhood. That's why we enjoy seeing a woman in a beautiful evening gown, for example, in beautiful jewelry, complementing that styling. So a lot of this sort of attempting to blend the styling between men and women was a way to not only, like, for example, when I was very young, I had a teacher in eighth grade, wonderful black woman, died just last year. Wonderful woman. I'll never forget her. She was very big on etiquette, on decorum. She required us to speak in our by our last names. I was Mr. This. The girls were Miss that. You know, we were referred to by our surnames. And one thing that she really required of all of the girls, she insisted on it to the even the point of meeting all of our parents at the start of the school year was she required the girls to wear dresses to all of her classes. You could not appear in her class without, as a female, without wearing a dress. She sent girls home who wore pants. And she knew that part of building men was creating beautiful young women for those men. And you got to present those women differently from the men. So when you talk about femininity, it's not just about what a woman wears, but it's about whether it's complementary to the spirit of the masculine. And that's what they really have done. They removed that from the spirit. They've changed the styling of women to remove the invigoration of the spirit to the man, to the masculine.
Hey, Roger, can I say that you and J Doe actually wasn't saying the same thing? You were actually saying that they hate straight men because they're not gay men. And J Doe was saying that they hate both. Sorry, I have to say that. Hello? Y'all hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Do you hear
It
me?
was quiet.
I
No,
hear
I
you.
just had to put that out there because Roger said that they were saying the same thing, and him and J Doe really wasn't saying the same thing.
Well, women intuitively know at their core that a man, and especially black women, know that a black man is not supposed to look and behave and act like a woman would. They know that. So, as much as they might, in some respects, appear to, quote, support the alternative night lifestyle, in at their core, they know it's a curse. They know it's an anathema. And so that's why when they're angry with you, they immediately go to that because in their core, at their subconscious level, beyond all the feminist training and all that bullshit, they know a man has no business looking and behaving that way. And that's why
Yeah,
they automatically use it whenever they're angry with you.
that's what I just
Yes.
said. I just
Yes.
said that.
And if that gay man pisses them off, she's gonna go off on him the same way.
Facts.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm
Oh
saying.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
No, he gonna be all kinds of negative
Yes. Yes.
gay references. Yeah, for
Cause
sure.
yeah,
For
cause
Yes.
sure.
now she actually knows that you like that compared to a straight guy. She just throwing it at. You know what I'm saying? Not, but she knows that he's like this. So yeah, he gonna get it
Well,
10 times worse.
Yeah.
All right, let me say this real quick. And maybe I did say it wrong. My point was that what me and Jada was saying was not in conflict to each other. Maybe I did say it wrong or something. But my point was what I was saying and what he was saying are not in conflict. Two things can be right at the same time. We were not conflicting with each other. Because I was saying something about her dislike for one of them. He was saying about her dislike for both of them. The point is she dislikes them. So we weren't in conflict with each other. Women, they do what they want to do when they want to do it. And they do think about things in that moment. They do not normally worry about things that's going to come behind. And they live in a society that's pretty much set up where they don't have to worry about consequences too much because men either accept the consequences for them or we say they don't have to, we just let them off the hook. We just don't even force them to have consequences in a lot of scenarios. So it makes sense that they operate that way.
Quick comment. Quick comment, Roger. It wasn't that you just said that they just didn't like straight men. You said that they don't like straight men because they want them to be gay men. That's what you said.
No, I'm saying I do believe there's a lot of black women who are straight who have a problem with you because you're not acting like the gay man they want you to be. If you were gay, see, this is what goes on in their mind. If you were gay, this wouldn't be an argument. If you were gay, you wouldn't be telling me to do this. If you were gay, you wouldn't worry about how I'm dressing.
So that completely goes against them loving and respecting the gay man. If they want
Look,
you to be this particular
the gay man is the ultimate simp to black women. They get
Bingo.
all these benefits. They get all these benefits from the presence of a man, from the ability of a man, but they get it in this overly feminized female sensibility, so to speak, or female bias. So he's the ultimate simp, super simp. Because, well, now in some cases they are fucking gay guys. In some cases, so everyone so called get drunk one night and quote experiment. But by and large, they're not obligated to have sex with a gay man. So he's kind of like the perfect simp for the black woman.
Yeah, I want to
Roger,
follow up that point.
do you really believe
Wait,
that's true?
hold on 1 second, Santana. I want to follow up that point because what he said was very key. There's a responsibility to being masculine, and there's a responsibility to being feminine. They escape the responsibility of being feminine by hanging around feminine men. That's what's going on. So what he just said was absolutely 100% correct. They don't want to be responsible for anything. They want to live their life freely. They want to do what they want to do when they get ready, and they don't want to be held responsible for nothing. So they hang around these gay men to get male validation at almost no cost. And I'll land right there.
I agree with that. And they like the juxtaposition. They like to see the character of a gay man trying to be conduct themselves in a feminine way. So when you juxtapose the two, they will look less, I guess, dysfunctional compared to the gay man.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
And I'm gonna say there's a certain level of protection that goes along with it too, because let's be realistic about it. If I'm a robber and I'm looking to rob somebody,
Yes,
am I
sir.
going to pick the woman who's by herself, or am I going to pick the woman with the quote unquote gay man? Because I don't even know the dude is gay unless he's like really effeminate, really flamboyant. I just see a man, so I pick somebody else to rob.
Yeah, that's why a lot of them will take trips with gay guys for that purpose. For that very purpose, to have this man with them while they're out in the country or whatever. But again, they're not under any sort of obligation necessarily to have sex with them. Now, I think in a lot of cases they end up on some wild shit, having sex with those gay guys. But again, they're not under the obligation of it necessarily.
Yeah. Here's the thing: women don't like to compete. So on this, it's like they have the best of both worlds. On the one hand,
Yes.
they have their comfort because they got something that's kind of like that similar feminine energy with them, something that they can relate to. And on the other hand, they don't have to actually come with anything, offer anything, and they don't have to compete with anybody. That's why when they see like two guys walking, they're cool with it. But when they see a brother with a non-black woman, that hits them in the soul because it's like, oh, now I have to reflect on myself. Now I have to do some inner work, and I have competition. They don't like that.
And I do want y'all to keep in mind that a lot of gay men to us are unidentified because they're not necessarily flamboyant. Gay men are a very small population in general when it comes to America, but we don't even really see them. Until you doing something with them, it don't even come out that they're gay. Now, I told y'all I do stuff where I go to businesses and homes. How do I know that this particular guy was gay? Because I'm at his home. And a guy comes out of a room. He say, "This is my husband, such and such." See, before that happened, I ain't know dude was gay.
I'm saying,
Are we
actually just talking about being feminine or just being gay? Because there's plenty
no, there are gay men who are feminine. They like man.
I understand that, Roger. I'm saying though, it's like it's a bunch of straight men that's feminine. I'm thinking that's what we're talking about.
That's my main thing, because there are straight men that's feminine, and even like because I use Prince in the beginning. Why did Prince? What it was documented that Prince said this about why he dressed the way he dressed as a masculine man who was a celebrity. He was gonna be out front. He said, "I dress this way so people ain't gonna necessarily be offended. It's gonna make it easier for him to move in certain circles, and because women love it." That's
I,
what.
I, I felt
Hey,
like
you
we was
know what?
kind of. I
You
felt like
know.
we was kind of switching the
Oh,
conversation because it went from feminine men. I'm thinking we talking
Well,
about
I
straight men
mean,
to straight feminine gay men.
my thing is, we can get right on back to men that are not gay. Because if you're an effeminate man, they still want to hang around you. They
Yeah,
still want your bike and everything.
When Prince broke, who was the biggest rock star of that time when he was coming up? David Bowie. Bowie made his whole career introducing that gender blending shit. That was the world Prince grew up in. Bowie really started that shit. He started it in the 70s. Prior to Bowie, you didn't have all that kind of stuff. And all that 80s stuff and all that weird stuff started with David Bowie in the 70s. And Prince was a part of that.
And that make perfect sense to me.
A good example of a masculine man that's effeminate, like these men that have. When we were growing up, when Roger and I were growing up, men started wearing long hair
Now the difference is Bowie did actually do some switch hitting. So I should have included that in there as well. My bad.
Yeah, you left us that out.
can't leave that out, Black Guru. Can't leave that out.
Yeah, that is an important note. That's an important note. But
Hey, Rob.
Right.
Hold on, go let Kevin 3905 finish. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so you had men started wearing braids and growing their hair long and stuff like that before the dreads got really popular. Why did the women like that? Because they can play in your hair like a woman. They can treat you like a woman without you even recognizing it. That's an example of a man who's masculine or masculine presenting with effeminate ways. But we don't allow women to make us believe it's cool to have long hair. But they treat you like a woman. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, Afro was long hair too, but that wasn't particularly feminine. Like, there's all sorts of like little stuff like that where you have levels to this stuff, you know?
Matter of
Hey,
fact,
Roger.
you remind me to say, because somebody said something about
I think that dread thing caught on in large part because Sisters was down there in Jamaica getting plotted out by Jock St. John and them guys in the 80s and whatever, and so brothers came up and stimulating that style. So that was a
You're right.
part of why brothers all of a sudden started wearing those dreads because Sisters was getting plotted out by Jamaican dudes back in the 70s and the 80s.
You're absolutely right.
and I am saying it is a cultural thing, because I'm saying, because locks in Jamaica, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know when they started wearing that. I'm assuming that's probably some maybe hundreds of thousands of years old at this particular point.
Bob Marley is the one who really, from a sort of national and worldwide visual perspective, really sold that particular hairstyle and popularized that particular hairstyle, or made it, it became, Jamaica and Caribbean and this sort of very kind of sexually attractive kind of motif. And like I said, you had all these brothers, and Eddie Murphy jokingly talked about it, how you got all these black women going down to these Caribbean islands getting rotted out by John St. Jock and shit.
But I don't. As far as as far as black men, like African American FBA, we weren't wearing dreads until they introduced that to us in the music, and the rappers was wearing the dreads with the fine chicks around. Because when I grew up in the '80s, and I ain't never seen nobody other than Jamaicans with dreads.
Well, and truth be told, we don't really do that now. If you look at guys with dreads versus guys with braids, the guys with braids far outnumber the guys with dreads, because dreads can still be looked at as a very masculine thing, because men in Jamaica been wearing them. It's not a new thing. It wasn't a thing that separated men from women. You know what I'm saying? Because to my understanding, their men and their women do it. It's more of a unisex thing over there.
But
But
here's the
over here, there was no bunch of guys in long hair. You could find a guy with long hair, but you normally be the oddball out.
Now here's the catch though. The way these guys wear their dreads now is very effeminate compared to the way regular Jamaicans wear their dreads when you go to Jamaica.
Yeah, that's that slippery slope. What your
There
boy
you go.
came in here with. It's that slippery slope.
Hair in a bun and all of this
Well, I mean
craziness.
that's 3 generations of baby mamas for you. That's what that is.
Yeah. And my thing is, to me, as black men, that's an important factor that we should actually look at, because we'll crack all type of jokes or say certain things, and people start bringing up effeminate men and all that, and then just like somebody said in the chat, not that he mean malice or anything like that, but they get women, and that has always been a defense when it comes to effeminate black men. But he get women though, and it's like it never clicked in our head. But why is he getting women? Because we all see effeminate. So why is he getting women? And basically, you telling me that if I act like a girl, I got a better chance with you? That don't sound right to me. That's not where I want to win. I understand there's certain things I can do, and I can start pulling way more chicks than I can now. Part of that is putting on a dress. But I don't want to put no dress on to get women. It just is what it is. I didn't want to wear braids to get women. I don't wear earrings to get women. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying anything about somebody who does it, because you may not have seen it as a feminine thing when you started doing it. I was already exposed to the fact that it was a feminine thing. So therefore, I'm ultimately going to rebel against somebody making me look like a girl. I have no interest in that. Never have. And I'm pretty sure I never will.
There was an episode on the Boondocks when Little Riley was wearing I think the rapper was Thugnificent, and Huey's like, "Yo,
Yeah, I
why you
remember
wearing
it.
it?" Riley had the halter top on, the mini skirt, and he had a floppy book. And Riley and Huey like, "Yo, what you doing?" He's like, "Yo, Thugnificent doing." He's like, "But da 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 da." He said, "But that nigga get bitches though," and it just hit me like, damn, like that's black men's like. That's our badge of honor is getting bitches. No matter how
Yeah.
you look, how you conduct yourself, as long as you getting bitches, you cool. And it's like, damn, like that's why I said we don't even understand. Like we don't get pussy. Pussy literally gets us.
Yeah, on top of that, you remember on there he had that man bag or whatever. It was just like, hey, what are you doing with that person? It's like, and look at all the people that we see with man bags. I mean, we see Shannon Sharp with it, we saw KS with it. Like that whole man bag thing was something that did take over.
Hey,
I mean,
Roger,
Oh,
oh,
my bad. Go ahead, Turn
turn
Around. We gonna
around,
let you
turn
say a
around.
word. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just finished eating, so my wife just made this food for me. But I wanted to say they have lavender marriages, which means these girls are actually having men take them on trips and that are gay and acting like they are a married couple and shopping with the guy, spending the day with the guy, and then letting the guy go and do his thing with another man and call it a lavender marriage. And they just love that. They're on the internet talking about lavender marriages, and that's something to do.
I thought that was a joke that Hot Sauce used that name, so
I
that's a
knew
good
it was.
thing.
I seen them use it. I knew it had to be something to it. I didn't know what it meant.
Hey, I mean, I don't want to get too depraved with this discussion, man, but it's a lot of that sickness going on, man, where, yeah, they get some type of sexual gratification out of like seeing two men going at it and they're in it too. It's a lot of little depravity in there, man, where
Yeah, it is. It
they
is.
get joy. And I think a lot of them get off on like seeing the man lose his manhood, so to speak. I think it makes her feel more empowered, so to speak, man.
Well,
And then
Roger,
she enjoys the time spending it with a man, like you said, for protection, but also that can act like a woman and shop with them and, do that kind of,
Can be
like
their
play with their
girlfriend.
hair. Yeah, be a girlfriend.
well, the host of one of my favorite shows on YouTube did say black women are the new white supremacists. So them seeing you getting your manhood taken, that would only equate to what he said even further.
Yep.
I mean, it all makes sense at the end of the day. It do correspond, but I just thought it was though, as black men, we should actually do something where we actually think about this in some legitimate way. Because I don't think, I've never noticed any brothers actually talking about it in like a real legitimate way of why do they even like these effeminate men like that. And I know there's some men who, you'll feel offended or whatever because a woman ain't seeing you the way she should see you. Bro, she might just like effeminate men. Ain't got nothing to do with you. And if you're not willing to go the effeminate route, you can't let that bother you.
Hey, Roger, man, I've been a victim to most of it, not all of it. Like I have earrings. I've worn pink before. I probably will maybe wear pink in the future, man. I've spent countless hours trying to find the perfect outfit so I can, these hoes gonna be on it, man. And a lot, and I just like, I guess as I got older, like it's like this stuff it's not practical and it's feminine behavior. A lot of stuff like for me, and for instance, like you want to spend all the time getting the perfect edge of, I gotta let me get these earrings, they're gonna be shine, or these shoes gonna be matching or the socks gonna be matching the belt, or something silly like that, man. And it's not even practical, man. You know what I mean? So it's all feminine behavior, man.
Absolutely. And what I don't want to do is offend any guy that's participating in something that I saw was feminine. Because I do understand how stuff is presented in the world, and
Sure.
you don't necessarily see it as a feminine thing. I see it as a feminine thing because of where I was around and how I grew up, and the TV shows I watched and the newspapers I read, and the school I went to, and you know what I'm saying, all the different things that I experienced. You know what I'm saying? So, and because my subconscious rules me, there's just certain things I'm never gonna actually do. So like getting my ear pierced, I can't do that because by the time that became a thing for men, it was already associated with women to me. Girls get earrings, men don't. So I can't go get my ears pierced. If y'all ever catch me with my ears pierced, that means somebody physically got a hold of me and literally got to the position they could hold me down to get my ears pierced. Because I would never voluntarily do something like that. It's just associated with a girl in my mind. I don't care how much time changes. And we've all seen some old guy who still, like a guy who grew up a long time ago and he still dressed the way he grew up. It's because to him, this just what it is. And that's how I am. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get earrings on me no matter what's going on. Real talk.
Well,
If you tell me I can't even buy food without earrings, I'm just going to assume this the mark of the beast. It's time for me to die anyway. I'm not going to do it.
They caught me with that. They caught me with that nonsense. Watching Puff Daddy and all them and Mace, you know what I mean, with the shorties, and I was like, yeah, this is what I think I need to do. But thank God I woke up out of that spell.
Yep.
But even when you look at that, like even who designs the clothes and who puts these guys in the outfits that they in when they on TV, it's more than likely a female or it's a gay guy back there picking all that stuff out.
Well, those are two main groups dressing people, as far as I can tell. And when you think about people, you know what I'm saying, who going on TV, who usually working backstage? Who's picking the attire? Who's head of the clothing and all that? Ain't that usually some gay men or some women?
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense. We gonna slow dress y'all into these dresses. We ain't gonna tell you right now you gotta wear a dress. Right now it's just a joke. We're gonna just have you put on a dress from time to time to do a skit because we're gonna laugh and it's gonna be funny. But over time, we're gonna get y'all wearing dresses regularly.
Now I bet you if you put a rapper in a video with a dress on and there's some bad chicks feeling him in the video and chicks outside start talking about, oh, he this, I bet you would pick up.
I mean, even with some of the rappers nowadays, like I think ASAP Rocky been caught in the dress. Not like, I understand if you in the movie or something doing a skit. I'm not talking about that because I know people make a big deal about that. You know what I'm saying? People who doing it as a joke, I am not talking about. I'm talking about people who ain't doing it as a joke. Okay? Why you got a dress on and it's not a joke? But shout out to Afro Merchant. He said Young Thug. Yeah, I remember that. I remember something about Young Thug being in the dress. I remember I did a show on what's my man name? Is it Lakeith Stanfield? or something where he took some pictures, and I think he had a dress on in one of them pictures too. I was disappointed. Real talk, because I like him as an actor, you know. And people I like as actors, I don't like to see them doing crazy stuff in their regular life. But you know, I like him as an actor. I can't control what he's doing in his regular life. Jonathan Majors had something on. I don't remember if he had a dress on, but I remember something about Jonathan Majors looking real effeminate or something on some covers.
Oh, that was where he was wearing that boa and stuff. He was basically looking like that Don Flamingo character from One Piece.
Yeah. And you
And,
gotta
and see,
remember,
my thing is,
that Mexican boxer that came out, his wife or girlfriend got mad at him and put his pictures out there, and Nicola J. That Mexican boxer.
De La Hoya.
Oscar
De
De
La
La
Hoya.
Hoya, yeah.
Yeah, De La
Fishnet. He
Hoya.
was in some, he
Women
had
are
some
most
fishnets on.
women
My
are
bad.
most susceptible to, if that's the correct word, they're more likely to get caught up with propaganda than a man. But men are more likely to do what women want to be done. So they understand how to get to us.
absolutely. And my thing is, I just got a limit, y'all. It's just point blank. For me, there's just a limit. I can't go that far just because a girl like it. And I do believe that's what, just like Shark is saying, that's what they hoping for. We gonna put a dude out here, the women gonna love it, and then you niggas gonna follow because y'all want to get in these draws. It's that simple at the end of the day. And my thing is, I just got a limit. If I got to put a dress on to get with you, I just can't get with you. It's that simple to me. I ain't gonna feel bad about it because I was never taught manhood was connected to a woman. And I think that's a huge issue for black men, that everything most of us were taught about manhood included a woman. You know, and I've said this before because I've talked about men who will openly say being a man means you take care of your wife and kids. And I know they ain't thinking about what they saying, because my thing is like, well, bro, how did you get a wife and kids if you wasn't a man? You know, we got to put our thinking caps on. Go ahead, brother.
All women want to get control, but black women seem to be the most aggressive at it. They all want to get control, and they try to manipulate and try to control you in any way they can.
You know what, Turnaround? I'm gonna say that's a good word, and that's gonna be the last word from the show. We're gonna talk backstage, of course, but y'all, that's gonna be the last word because I just found something out about a half hour ago. Now I gotta be somewhere because something got messed up yesterday, but I just found out about it. So I'm gonna handle some business. So I'm gonna end it right here. Turnaround had the last word. I think it's been a good show. I'm gonna say for people in the future, if you're gonna come to the panel, make sure you already know what you want to say. Don't necessarily require no questions where you got to talk about stuff that should be obvious, especially based on the title of the show. Come correct with it at the end of the day. Because, if we see you as trying to be a troll and you don't get your point out, then did you help yourself? Because maybe you had a point that was going to be solid. Maybe you did. But if we never get a chance to hear it, it is what it is, and I'm never going to overrule the pit crew. Just is what it is, y'all. I gave them the power for a reason. I ain't gonna never overrule it, even if I don't like it myself. I'm still not gonna overrule it. So y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right, and I'm out.